Welcome to the Nick and Matt Show. Bringing the player interviews you want to hear and the hot topics you want to discuss. Recording live in studio. Here's Nick and Matt.
It's not Nick and Matt. It's Evan and Matt because Nick's fired after last week's show. I'm kidding. What's up, Evan?
Not much. I'm not as good looking as Nick, but hopefully I can fill in his place for this
Hold on.
episode.
We probably have that stupid echo with you again. I'm guessing we do. How did we miss that already? Let me just check really quick. Why is it doing that?
Sit here.
Why is it doing that, Ben? Tell me what's happening there.
Because Realtek Skype out on video.
Nope. Okay. We're sitting here real quick. I'm going to just fix it. You guys get to do this with me live. This is the best part of it all.
I am testing here. You guys can hear me live.
We're going to hear you live. We hear you live. We hear you live, but I'm going to just fix something real quick. I think.
All right.
Oh, well,
I need to pull up the chat.
What we did is we just lost the audio for like the game show stuff.
Mando.
Not a problem. Okay. Let's continue on. That was an exciting start here. We got in studio. His name is Casey White. Boom.
I thought I was Nick Carl.
Oh, Casey. No, okay, we got
Casey White. I lied.
Casey White, everybody in studio. I think we're gonna get carried away tonight. Thanks to Casey being here.
This is gonna be a blast.
Hold on a second. We got issues. Just kidding. Ben's just getting carried away.
Am I still echoing?
No, You're good.
All right.
No, but I take notes to fix this, Ben, because
I'm trying.
No, just leave that alone. Just leave it alone. It's fine. All right. Here we go. So tonight, we're going to talk about a few things. If that wasn't the best intro you've ever heard out of 117 episodes.
Wow, 117.
This is 107. Yeah. Shout out to Cosmic Disc Golf presenting this episode. CosmicDG.com. You can check them out on social media, their website. You see them listed on our screen here. If you're watching YouTube, every single page has it featuring the show. Thank you to them. Go check them out. Get your disc golf needs met, as well as their other initiatives you can find more about there. So we're going to be talking about PDGA rules update. That sounds boring, but we're not going to make it boring. Sponsorships, the off season, things are going to happen. I believe I heard this idea from people that this will be a very quiet off season. There's nothing to look forward to
every year. That's what we hear.
Right. And so I'm going to have a take on that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that's going to be the case ever from here on out. I mean, Paul started it, but then it was like Paige happened and then Ricky, and we can talk about all that later. I might rant a little bit. We'll talk about our first aces, what discs we did it with, our aces good shots, that kind of thing. And then we're going to bring a fun segment called Rules. This is what it's called. Rules that could be cool, but are probably pretty bad ideas. Is that the most catchy segment name you've ever heard?
It absolutely is.
Intro for it. I'll come up with it.
It's just do a little ditty.
Rules
that could be cool.
Could be cool.
Oh, no. But are probably pretty
not
bad
good.
ideas.
I forgot to say.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So that is a segment we're going to talk about. So what'd you do this week? You started Vlogmas, Casey.
I did start Vlogmas.
That started how long ago?
December 1st.
So what is today? The 5th?
Today is the 5th, I think. Yeah, I posted video number 5 today.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you going to do something on my birthday, December 7th?
I will be posting another vlog.
Let me ask.
Cool. Have the outro be wavy like the ocean.
Yes. One of my songs.
He's produced music. It's pretty good, actually.
Cool.
But my question is, I've done some Vlogmas with Simon over the years or whatever it's been now. And I'm trying to remember. I think usually he records and posts that day. Is that what you did today, or did you record today? You're going to post tomorrow.
I have my buddy Broderick helping me edit. So I don't edit anything.
Come on.
So I just film ahead of time, send it to him. I obviously pay him respectively. And
nice.
We take it on together because I don't have the time or the energy or the knack for the editing to make funny, catchy stuff. So I help him. He helps me. And he's basically the reason I have a YouTube channel as is, because if I had to edit everything, there's no way I would post as many videos as I do.
It must be nice to be that famous that you can just sit back and pay people to do the hard work, right?
I mean, yeah, but you gotta give them good content so that stuff still works.
Evan,
Of course, I'm not downplaying that part.
no, Evan, you said something that's interesting though, because you said be that famous where you can just pay for it. I'm like, well, I can just pay for it, but I'm not famous. But like, so it's one or the other. Usually, like people
That's
are lining up
yes.
to edit for
Damn,
him
you're
for
so
free.
famous, your wallet is empty.
I just pay everybody. But I
I'm
get
not
your
here
point.
to make sense.
I get your point though, because if you're rich and famous, then you pay people to do stuff. Anyways,
Oh, Coach Broad is in the chat. He said currently editing another video.
there he is.
Yep.
Awesome. We do give love to the chat. Maybe not as much as we did in the early days, but we'll give shout outs just like Casey did. Something cool pops up there where if you want to cause trouble, don't do it. But we will we'll talk about it. Those driving around in their cars listening at work, we always love you. You are at least 50% of our listening audience, and so we value very
That used to be me at work.
We just give the people something to drone on in the background about.
Absolutely.
Disc golf.
They used to be me too.
Listen to you, all
I started
converts to
working
the
here.
in studio.
And you put a microphone in his face.
Exactly, and now I'm here.
Oh, what a mistake it was.
Let's go. I'm here to stay.
Okay. So I last week flew. That's why I wasn't here. Nick, Ben, Evan held down the show. No guest. I flew out to Wisconsin for work. I was in Appleton, Wisconsin. In the world of trivia, does anybody know who lived in Appleton in disc golf?
Oh, and disc golf.
Trivia. I didn't plan this trivia, but it is trivia.
Is it like a very known name?
Yes.
Barry
My
Schultz?
guess is
Nope.
Oh, Haley King.
Ding,
Sorry.
Haley
I was
King.
thinking way too much history. I knew that.
That was good.
my mind was going Terry Miller, but
Oh, Terry's close, but he's
Terry's
I knew it was
Milwaukee.
Wisconsin, but it didn't make sense. But yeah, I thought he was in the Milwaukee area. But is like I don't know where Appleton is.
Appleton
is, it just
is
like a
west of
suburb
Green Bay.
Milwaukee. Oh,
Casey
okay, so it's
White,
kinda up
world
there.
country, world traveler. He knows his
Man.
geography now.
Okay, quick question, Casey. How many states have you been to?
How many have I been to, or how many have I played disc golf in?
Been
Let's
to.
start with disc golf, then we can work
Yeah,
up to.
answer.
Okay, hold
you've
on.
Been
I'll
on the
just pull up the
ground, like I'm
spreadsheet.
calling pit stops.
Spreadsheet, let's go. This is
Pit stops
legit.
there. Like if you just like, I've driven through Indiana without stopping.
Okay.
I definitely not been to Indiana.
Yeah, I hear you.
But like New Mexico, I've stopped in New Mexico, went around a gift store, went to the bathroom, ate food. Like I'm calling that
I'd
for
consider
this
Indiana.
classification.
Okay, whatever.
He's pulling it up, everybody.
I have played disc golf in 38 states, I believe. That might be higher. It's no lower. It just means that I might have forgotten to include a couple of the other states that I have passed through. But those are just played disc golf courses in because, like you said, you've driven through Indiana, but you would say you didn't visit it. So that's why I do play disc golf. I would say I've probably been through at some point in my existence, passed through every single state except for Nebraska.
Oh,
Except
good
for
state to
Nebraska.
miss
I think it's
out
the
on.
only
I'll
one.
tell you that.
Interesting. How many disc golf courses are in
Well,
Nebraska?
all right, sorry, continental. So not Alaska or Hawaii. I've never been to
Yeah.
Alaska or Hawaii.
Right.
Nebraska's have a good amount. I mean, I don't think they have anything elite, but I mean, like Lincoln and Omaha on the eastern side are pretty popular.
They
cities.
actually just released it on the UDisc, like highest rated courses in every state, and I think that they had one of the lowest ratings for the highest rated course in the
Ooh.
state.
I
still wish listed
hear
them
that.
all.
See, I'm wearing a polo right now, University of Colorado, going back to like the 80s and 90s,
Colorado.
pre my time at that school. Huge rivalry with Nebraska, but it still carries over. So just here, anytime you hear Nebraska, you're just like, ugh. I drove through it, I think just once. It was when I drove home from school after I graduated, drove from Colorado all the way to New Hampshire. Not very fun, but I know Casey and plenty of other disc golfers do that pretty much on the daily. Nebraska was the boringest part by far. It was like
The
snowing and
boringest.
icing.
But it's not just
I
Nebraska;
see.
it's that whole stretch from North Dakota to South Dakota
Kansas
to
is
Nebraska
bad.
to Kansas.
Actually,
Oklahoma's not too impressive
Western
either.
Illinois was really bad.
Yep.
It's boring.
Is dead.
We could do like a segment where I just talk about my least favorite states to drive through.
Vlogmas, baby. So I
I
didn't.
would watch that.
That was your like sidetrack in between. That's perfect. That's how tonight's show should go. So I flew into Appleton.
Oh yeah,
Oh, goodness, we're back to
we're
this.
still in Wisconsin.
It's like 30 minutes west. So you're not wrong. It's like
Yep.
30 minutes west of Green Bay. And for the first time ever, I fly up there fairly often, but I actually flew into Appleton. There's a decent airport there. landed in Appleton. I go to a class, and the class I'm in, to me, it wasn't boring. It's probably going to sound boring, but it's called adult learning. And well, that could sound exciting too.
Adult learning.
Casey,
It's so broad.
It's like how adults learn. Okay. How do you learn things?
That makes sense.
Kids learn by you just tell them. You're like, hey, just hold the disc like this and throw it. They're like, cool. I'll remember that forever.
Yeah.
Boom. Adults are like, I don't remember what you told me. So learning how that works. So anyways, I'm in the class and they say as part of this class.
Wasn't a very good class then if you forget it.
Yeah. So I'm in this class and they say at the end of this class, you're going to use everything you've learned to teach us something. And they said it can't be work related. And I was like, guess I'm talking about disc golf. So I got 45 minutes to talk about disc golf to a room of students in a career, like they're working a career job about disc golf. And I'm like, 2 days out and I'm like, well, how am I going to do this? I didn't bring anything. I flew on a plane. So I'm like, who do I know? So I post social media just as a large catch net, right? You'd probably done that before, Casey. Who knows somebody about it in this area?
Yep.
And people start being like, hey, Terry. I'm like, Terry's 3 hours away. I'm not going to do that just to teach someone about disc golf. But it was helpful. People are trying to start comment tagging. And I'm like, I know Haley's not living here now.
Mm-hmm.
But I know she's from here, so let me text her. So I text her. I go, who do you know in Appleton? She goes, my dad. He's got baskets.
Yep.
So I'm like, hook me up with your dad. So I get his number. I text him. And he's like, yeah, show up later today, grab the baskets. And I show up to get the baskets. And I'm like, you happen to have any discs too? And he's like, here's a stack of 15 putters. And I'm like, this is great. So I bring it into the class. I teach everybody about disc golf. I'm having them stand up. And by the end of it, this was the whole practice. Literally, I'm like, show me backhand hyzer. They're all like, whoa. Show me forehand and hyzer. Whoa. They were like, they knew it and they've never played disc golf before. It was awesome. I'm like, thumbers, tomahawks. I'm like, everything from what's the advantages of a driver versus a putter? What's a course par in feet compared to yards? I did this whole class, an evaluation and everything. And I swear they know more than the average person coming on the course now.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Nice.
And I will also say this, before I got the baskets, I went over to Dick's Sporting Goods. Just let me ask, how much do you think 3 discs at Dick's Sporting Goods cost me?
Each or total?
Total.
I bet
3
you spent
discs.
$70,
60,
maybe more.
I'd say 60.
65.
I would say
they're $21.99 each.
You're 99 cents off pretty much. $74.99.
Yep.
It's $75.
Jeez.
And I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't, because the prices weren't listed well. I go back there and I'm looking at, and it was plastic. And I see, they had Star mainly. So I grab off a putter, a mid-range, and a driver. I go up front. I'm just like, doo-doo-doo at the cash register. And then they're like, $75. And I'm like, and I said, oh, this hurts.
Yeah.
He looks at me funny. And I'm like, I know you have no idea, but
these prices are criminal.
yeah. And I'm like, my kids just got their allotments in the mail. I'm like, I just get hundreds of discs shipped to my house. And I'm like, and I just flew here to pick up 3 discs and I pay $75. I ended up returning them after the class. I'm like, didn't need them.
Did you look up on UDisc any pro shops nearby?
It was in my head to do, but I didn't because I ended up getting the 15 discs from Haley's dad, which very cool. Everyone hit a putt. It was a cool time. I know you do that a lot, right? You're traveling around. You've done a fair amount of clinic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I it's kind of a weird thing. I try and avoid them as much as I can, but I don't mind doing them when it is time to do it. I do a lot of stuff with Uplay, which is really easy because Zoe just leads the charge, and I'm just the all-star guy that throws a disc, and they're like, whoa. We went to my elementary school in Massachusetts here during the MVP Open, and we went to the school that I went to, and, she says, I'm Zoe, awesome. I'm from Oregon, and they're like, and then he's Casey, and I'm from Shirley, Massachusetts, and they're like, oh my God, woo.
That's so cool. Yeah. So I taught disc golf, and yeah, I mean, it was interesting. They're like, I had no idea disc golf was anything. What is this? This is crazy. And I'm like, yeah, my 8-year-old won the world championships. And they're like, what? Are you kidding me? I'm like, yeah, I talk disc golf on the side. They talk about disc golf. I'm like, all right. Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, too much now.
How many of them went away calling it disco golf?
Hey.
If the answer is 0, I think you did your job.
It was 0. But let's go back. Like, so I've been playing disc golf like 15 years. Wait, how long have you been playing, Casey?
I mean, how long have I been throwing a disc, or how long have I been like playing?
How long have you been playing disc golf? Like, just so throwing a disc.
I played my first round in August 2012, but we only played
10 years.
Yeah, but we only played for about a month and a half with one disc each. It was a driver, a beast, and everybody had a beast.
A DX beast?
No, I had a champion. Everybody else had DX. We didn't know why, but everybody else's flew better. And,
I was just going to ask that.
And then we lent the discs to a friend
Casey,
that we played
you
with.
suck, man.
Yeah.
I got the same disc as you, bro.
Yeah. Well, we didn't even know that. Theirs had a picture. Mine didn't. So we thought they were different discs.
That's hilarious.
But anyway, and then I didn't play again for another year and a half because we lent our discs to my friend and we never saw him again. So I say like I've been playing a lot since April 2014.
Well, I just brought up the years because back when I started disc golfing, I started a career job. So I've been there almost 13 years now. And I remember telling someone, they're like, disco golf? Exactly. That's what they thought I was saying. I'm like, and now you know why when we have non-disc golfers who are in actual radio or broadcasting, do you hear how they say it? They go, disc golf.
You know what I say? I introduce it as golf with a disc.
I usually say frisbee golf.
Golf with a frisbee. I do both.
Yeah.
They don't understand the rest.
But I say we don't call it frisbee because that's trademark.
But you say golf.
Yeah.
And you got them. Oh, golf. I know what that is with a disc. And they're like, huh.
Instead of a club and a ball.
And a disco ball.
A disco ball. Oh, man. So that happened. That was my week. I learned a lot for myself. So now I'm trying to get everything to plant into people's long-term memory. That's my goal now if I'm teaching. Short-term memory is you listening to this podcast right now and probably not remembering what I just said. Unless Casey does something extremely funny.
All right.
Or me or anybody, something hilarious happens, then people will remember that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ben, top 5 funny moments on the Nick and Matt show.
Oh, I could list them off the top of my head.
Right, but you can't say actually like top 1 or 2, can you? It's private.
Yes.
We'll tell Casey after.
All right.
It's worth it. It's worth it. All right. So, I'm just laughing now. That's going to be a bad show. All right. So, where is Nick? We never even addressed that. I think I should just take the moment. Nick's probably crying right now. He's listened to this far, and he's like, they didn't even say a thing.
Just sitting on the couch doing exactly what he could be doing sitting on this couch.
Hey,
but he's
I
just
gave
not
Nick
here.
a compliment when we started. I said I wasn't as good looking, so he is doing fine.
Okay.
He got one compliment and we're here.
I will not divulge personal information unless he's in the chat and wants to, but he's not feeling well. That we'll just leave it at that. And so he opted out tonight. So that's okay, out of the way. This is interesting. Nico Castro. Does he get enough press?
No.
Does he get enough?
Yeah, does he get enough press, Casey?
I think Nico is the living example of like all press is good press.
Facts.
100%.
Like so relevant. He is so relevant.
Always, I feel like.
Yeah. And people want to hate on him, but guess what? You know who he is.
Like before even like the whole European Open thing, before like the time violation things, before all of that, like he's always been like.
What is before the time violation thing?
Before you started playing disc golf. But I will say like he's always done it one way or another, whether it's his like personality of like even apparel choices and just like his personality and like he's always a talking point.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing him up. That's my point.
Okay.
I had to build the foundation.
Or keeping him relevant.
It's interesting when a professional disc golfer comments on a social media post by the organization that runs the tour or the governing body, the PDGA. So they have the social media page on Facebook and they posted rules updates, which we will start to talk about later. And wouldn't you know, when a professional disc golfer comments in there, everybody loves it.
Yeah, of course.
Doesn't matter who it is or what they say. It's like, yeah, they said something.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to wonder how the PDGA looks at that. Do they shake their head? So with this, I think they probably shook their head, but we'll see. He said, should I read the quote?
That is completely on you.
All right.
I think it's important to say the context of this.
Okay. So you think I should read the quote? Okay. I'll give you a summarization first. I don't remember if I screen captured it or not. I might have to go look it up. unless intern Ben can find it.
I'm
quickly.
trying to find it.
Okay.
It's
a
on their
PDGA post
Instagram?
of the rules updates.
Instagram.
Why did it get
No,
deleted?
Or
Facebook.
Facebook.
No, it's Facebook.
Okay.
The comment got deleted.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, it did?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, well, it's
because
swirling around
went
online.
against
I'm sure
the
we can find it.
community rules.
It's online somewhere.
Just look in disc golf debate.
Here is the generalness of it. I kind of wrote it down, but he more or less said, and I will be very clear, this is not a direct quote, so you have to go find it for yourself. But more or less, he said, I can't keep my lips shut any longer on this. Are you going to continue to allow? And he used phrasing that I don't necessarily agree with, and I haven't come to terms with myself, and I wouldn't have said myself, but more or less, men playing in women's divisions or beating women. That's the general comments feeling to it. If you feel like it's taken out of context, we'll find it, we'll readdress it. But I think that's generally what it was. Now, you can have your opinions and share your opinions. But when you're a professional and you comment that publicly, that's where he's at. And I get it. That's where he's at. But then you're getting this weird likes voting system, and it starts to get a lot of attention. But besides that, to me right now, that's not the issue at hand. He just signed with a brand new sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I want to take this conversation. Do you think this thing has already been addressed with Nico from his new sponsors? What do you think, Evan or Casey? Any thoughts? Is this something a new sponsor's
Okay,
hey, bro,
so,
pull back just a little bit?
I mean, knowing where we are right now in the sport, where there's obviously companies in the sport that have a complete hold on their fan base, and I don't know what you want to call it, like Innova, Discraft,
Mm-hmm.
Prodigy, Dynamic, you could say that. They obviously are very established. Lone Star being a company that is just coming up and with good success in a short period of time. Maybe the issue that Nico had previously was that Nico was harming their already built up status, where Lone Star may have made a deal with him that's just hey, if you just wear our shirts, everybody knows you, we'll be happy with you, and you can just be yourself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he maybe was happy to hear that they were cool with him being himself and expressing himself in ways that other companies might frown upon.
So it could be.
Could be.
Absolutely, it could be. It could be they're hey, we're cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
You as a person and you and your own things are your own things, as long as you promote our products.
Yep.
But what's happening in today's age is people aren't separating those things.
Oh, no. Never.
Casey White, what you believe off the course is in people's minds, I believe, is that what you believe off the course tells me that those people are supporting you believe that as well, or at least are supporting your ideas. And I'd love to get it to a place where that's not the case.
Yeah.
They're supporting you as a disc golf athlete,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I don't think we're there. Evan, do you think this is something Lone Star was hey, dude, we just signed you?
Well, Lone Star knew what they're getting into. They did, and it's not that they approve of what he's doing. I think they would very much prefer it if he didn't comment like that. Not to speak for them, but I would believe so. But Nico is an outspoken person. He says what he believes, and kind of like what Casey was saying, it's a newer company on the up and up who is willing to take a risk on Nico and to get their brand on him. They're going to let him have a little bit more relaxed than Innova or Discraft or other really big companies would do. It's a really tough scenario, and I don't know. You just wanted to ask about. We can dive into this a little bit more, but you just wanted to ask how Lone Star or the sponsor felt of it.
All right, I'll add one more comment.
Yeah, I'm thinking more right now to just kind of, because this could expand huge, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, initially it's just what do you think of sponsors in this scenario, with Nico doing something like that? Or what did you have, Casey?
I was just basically going to say, take Nico's exact comment and put anybody that their name on the Pro Tour, and I would assume it wouldn't go down well with their sponsor. So basically what I'm saying is maybe he has a special agreement, but I'm not sure.
That's a good point.
Say whatever you want, Nico.
I guess what I do want to say though is I mean, you can get in such a long, like how you have to be careful about everything you have to say. But at the same time, I think it is important that fans who very much disagree with what Nico's saying, the best thing that those fans can do if you disagree is to not talk about it. Of course, that's why Nico got signed, is because we're talking about him
Very
just like right
interesting.
now.
Very interesting.
So
outlook.
people who very much disagree with Nico, what else can they do to like really show their displeasure in what he's saying and being like, hey, I really don't think that's okay. I don't like him saying that. Well, you can go after the sponsor and say, hey, Lone Star, like, I'm not going to buy your disc if he's going to talk about this. Like,
But he didn't even have to start talking. People were already saying
we
that.
don't know.
They announced
that's
Nico
what
the
happened
Lone
with
Star, and
Clash.
people are like, oh, I'll never buy another Lone Star disc again.
Yeah, and Clash, that's exactly why they dropped him. And they dropped him, and people were like, oh, okay. Clash went against this guy who we disagreed with his management of his words on the course. I don't know how else to describe that in plain words. But they could have been like, hey, Clash, we're never buying one of your discs because you're approving of this by doing nothing. And because they dropped him, now people are like, okay, yes, I can support Clash.
I can throw a honey now.
So which Ben said that disc was like not that understable, and I threw it and it was crazy understable. So I'm
It's
blaming
really
Ben on that
understable.
one. Good
Ben
disc.
got that noodle.
You said it was like a Wraith, and a Wraith isn't crazy like understable. It's like a little bit.
What about the
understable,
wild
but-
honey?
All right, hold 7.
This is
Buffalo. That's where I throw it on.
not the topic
it's
for right
really
now.
Understable.
This is not the topic for right now, but
You have the noodle, Evan.
fans can pretty much vote with their wallet. So if it's something that they really very much disagree with, I think it's a good thing to then show your displeasure and try to say, hey, this is not okay in my mind.
And by the way, I know we said it was deleted. What's interesting is, and I have no idea of knowing either way unless I actually text Nico, which I don't really feel like doing right now, is did he delete the comment?
That's
or
what I was
did the
actually
PDGA
gonna ask
delete
as
the
well.
comment? Because
So
if he did, I would be interested to know that. Like, I'd be really like, PDGA, I get it. Like, in some ways, I don't agree with it, quite frankly, but that's their prerogative. They have their standards and all that. But for Nico to do it, it would tell me something significantly different. It would be either like, oh, the sponsors didn't like it and got to him, or he's just like, you know what? Lessons learned in my life. I'm just going to back off here a little bit. How many times have you deleted comments on the internet? I've done.
Oh man, too many.
Yeah. Or I've started typing something. And then delete it.
absolutely.
Like, so, I mean, maybe he's there. I don't know. But it's just a topic. That's all.
well, I'm pretty sure that the PDGA deleted it, and I'll say it's because of this. Both the PDGA and the Pro Tour over the summer, I think, about mid-season,
I remember.
they came out and said, hey, here are our community guidelines. And one of the main things that they really wanted to push for is like, do not attack someone for their gender. With the whole topic over the summer about people transitioning, it pretty much boils down to, if someone transitions and they are now a transgender woman, don't just say, hey, they're a man, and just ignore all of that. And that's really what he did. He capitalized MEN. He said, why do we let men play with biological women, is I believe what it was. But he really emphasized that. And that's what PDGA and the Pro Tour has said, hey, that's not okay. We're going to delete comments that are like that. Why do you let a man play? That's not okay. Did he though? Now we're getting a little further down here. Eventually I'll call it off, cuts. But like, did he actually call out a player, or was it generic? I think it was generic. No,
I don't think
it was generic.
Yeah.
Okay. So like,
it was just normal rules. It wasn't even like it's not something that would be covered under this, in my opinion, because I don't think the rules cover like where you can play necessarily. It's more about how you play the game. Whereas you cover, like age protected or all the other things about how you can play in each area.
Yeah.
In a different.
All my point is,
a rule of the game.
I don't think now I'm treading in interesting water here. I think he was being a little bit inflammatory, but I don't think him saying it not pinning anybody. Everyone knows who he's talking about, or they think they do, but like him not pinning it on a name, I feel like gives a little bit more of like it. I don't know if he was actually trying to do that on purpose or not, but like, I feel like it gives a little bit more, not credit, but like, it wasn't like he's like, this person, let's attack them. You know what I mean? So either way.
I know what you mean, but what I want to say real quick though is if you want to actually make this argument and you really believe that transgender women should not play with biological women and there should either be separate divisions or they play in mixed, if you truly believe that, Like, use your words.
That's exactly it.
Better when you make these arguments. Is
Yep.
say, hey, why do we let transgender women who may be transitioned after puberty? Like, you can use all these reasons
absolutely.
that other sports have doing it. But if you just come out firing and just say, hey, why do we let men play with the biological women? That's so bad, and it's so rude and inconsiderate outside of the sport. And again, I think that's why the PDGA probably they were the ones that deleted this comment. And I think that's very, very important. So
I'm behind all that. I'm trying just to comment on just the generalness of like Nico doing it, how it relates to him, his sponsors. But the sentiment that you're saying, absolutely, Evan. I think people, whatever side you're on, way undermine their point by the way they communicate. Like, it's just, you gotta like do it in a much more tactful. Tactful is the word I'll use. And
no one on any committee is taking that comment seriously because of how they worded it.
Yes, true. Great point. All right, that's all we'll say about that. And by the way the rules are right now, I wouldn't have said what Nico said. That's just me. I wouldn't have said that. I feel like the rules are the rules. I think
that's good.
People are waiting to see if the PDGA is going to say something in relation to that. And when this rules update that we'll talk about here came out and said nothing, which, by the way, people who thought that you would just hear about something in like a rules update and like the competition manual or like rules, like that's where they're going to hide it in there somewhere. Like, come on. Like, if they did that, then the PDGA is super incompetent. Like, don't do it that way. Like, if they're gonna make, and I've heard everything saying there's gonna be some big announcement too. We may never hear anything. If you never hear anything, that's a big problem. If you hear a big announcement, I think there should be, one way or another, there should be a big announcement at some point. What you want it to be or what you don't want it to be, that'll be something maybe we discuss later. Like, that's not our platform right now to do that. So that was Nico. Interesting guy. Most watched reel on our Instagram channel ever was posting a clip from him saying he thought things were blown out of proportion.
Nice. Thank you, Nico.
Yeah. Thank you, Nico. All right, let's get into a little bit more other ideas here. So Paige Shue, also known as previously to marriage, Paige Bjerkes, 2018 world champion. Which, by the way, it's an incredible feat.
Of course.
You play really good up at Smugs, right? That's where you usually play good. Was it that year, too? You probably
That was my breakout event in my career. Yep.
Yeah. What did you get?
I got 28th.
28th. But for a little while, you were up in the top 20,
I was 20th
right?
after the third round.
Who dat?
Yeah, I know. I was just living the dream. That was a spark.
What is it about up there? Is it the mixture of woods and fields, or the feeling?
It's everything. It's the whole area. It's like the fact that I don't even have to drive to go to the course, but I'm staying on a resort. I just get on the shuttle and they drop me off at my tee time, and I don't need, like, at that point in my career, I was under the wing of Jordan Castro and Chris Clemens, and they were the ones that drove me around places. But that was like the first time that I didn't need to be driven anywhere. I was on my own time, on my own schedule. Playing with who I wanted to play with, so I had great practice, just a good vibe, and that's just a start.
That's your best finish up there?
No, my best finish is, well, I got 25th at the 2019 GMC, which isn't like that awesome.
But that's why it stands out to me. I'm like, that's where you play
28th at Worlds is good, but I mean, I did win the Brewster Ridge Open by 10, which was cool. So
by 10.
Yeah.
There's a stat to be had there, Evan.
And I laid up.
Yeah. Well, the Brewster Ridge Open that just happened this year, wasn't it close? And that was it Harry Chase?
Yeah, Harry got like 18.
It wasn't close after like hole 14 or 13, I think. That was when it really started.
So it was kind of a convincing win.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it was a convincing.
But Casey also had the incredible bogey-free streak at Brewster.
I don't want to talk about it.
We shouldn't have tweeted about. No, we should have tweeted about. I don't know if Casey saw it or not.
Of course I did.
If it got into his head.
I'm so proud of that. But then I'm like, yep, here we go. And all right, is this the time to elaborate on that?
Go for it.
Or is this not the time?
Yeah,
It's the time.
So I played. Yeah, I remember the last bogey I got as well. It was on hole 5 on Brewster Ridge in the 2020 GMC round 3, and I just got that terrible kick that just kicked me straight over the wall. Never to even have a chance of staying in bounds. But then I shot 3 down that round. I believe in the first round, I had already shot a 3 down on Brewster Ridge. Then I go to 2021 GMC and I shoot a 6 down the first round, which was the first time I had not shot a 3 down on Brewster Ridge. And I don't even know how many rounds, but it was bogey free. And then I go to the third round, shoot another 3 down. And now Brewster Ridge Open, I did play, and the stat was for GMC. I did have one bogey on my Brewster Ridge Open round. However, it was my personal best round on Brewster Ridge at the Brewster Ridge Open at 7 down, even though it was in 40 degrees and raining the whole time. It was a 6.5 hour round. It was awful.
Jeez.
But
I did check for that, and I would have included if you went bogey free, but because you did get one bogey, I was like, who cares? I'm going to just do Elite Series.
And it was just a short little putt too. But it was a short little putt that pissed me off enough to birdie the next 5. So I don't regret anything. But anyway, go to GMC this year and I shoot an 8 down, my personal best on Brewster Ridge, another bogey free. And I'm like, hey, that's cool. When I walked off the course, I was in first place. Like, that's what I like to hear. Go back to the resort. We're just chilling. Like, everybody's coming in with their rounds. We're talking about the golf. And then everybody's like, oh, hey, Casey, look at this. And I'm like, holy shit. I don't know how many holes it was, but I was like, man, I am better at this course than I thought I was. Like, I know I'm not bad at it, but holy crap, whatever. I had like 90 holes without a bogey on Brewster Ridge. And I literally was like, wow, that's crazy. And then going to Fox Run, play that round. So now round 3, Brewster, I think I had a little bit of a lackluster round on Fox. So I think I dropped to maybe just inside the top 20. And starting the round, I obviously know the circumstances, but I'm pretty sure I birdied 1. And then I parred 2 probably. And then I definitely birdied hole 3. And then hole 4, I literally just whacked the first tree. And hole 4 is a hard hole, but not really the first part. Not the first half. And I just whacked the first tree right in the middle. And I was like, wow, this is not going to be a fun par. But that's the way I'm talking to myself. This is not going to be a fun way to get par. But I throw my most overstable FD3 through the gap that I should have hit the first time. And it just does this perfect little float down drift, lands me right in the middle of the fairway. I do that same shot again on my MD5 and I park it for par. And they're all like, oh my God, what a save. Great shot. And whether they know my stat or not, I do. And I'm like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will never bogey at this course ever again. Go to hole 5, whack off a tree straight over the wall OB. And I'm like, yep, that's how it's going to go. So I bookended it on hole 5.
Well, it was 85 holes. I just looked it up real quick. Yep. And I stand by, hey.
So I made it to 89.
You guys are all professionals and should need to overcome stats about you that are really, really cool.
Yeah, that's why when you said that you shouldn't have posted, absolutely you should have posted it.
No, yeah, I was joking. But yeah, I show up at MVP Open the day before the tournament and we're just walking around. Someone's you're from Stat Mando? Oh, you guys jinxed Casey.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So I thought that was funny.
All right. We have
Safari.
A word from our sponsor, Safari Knockers. You can see it here. It's in my hands. Ooh, it's beautiful, actually. This wood is amazing. It's not every day that someone comes up with something new and completely new in disc golf. But it's interesting. It's completely new, but man, it has the roots of disc golf built right in. So these guys have made an ultra portable target. And by ultra portable, I was talking to Casey about these before the show, and he's like, yeah, you're not going to carry a basket with you up the mountain. And he's not wrong. But you would carry one of these. They separate into 2 portions, and the base unscrews out and can fit in your bags. Or you could just carry a walking stick with you. So that's super portable. They're lightweight, only 4.5 pounds. But this product means that you can play disc golf in a whole bunch of places where it just wasn't feasible before. A whole bunch of really fun places. If you can walk there, you can play there. I have used the product. I actually recorded a whole bunch of videos playing it. If you go up to the White Mountains and you pull off those state park pull-offs, and they've got these crazy viewing areas, there is nothing stopping you from taking this product, Safari Knockers, running it down the side of a cliff, popping it off on this really cool spot, and just throwing your plastic till it, you run out.
You rock those knockers.
Yeah, Casey says, rock those knockers. So Safari Knockers, incredible quality, craftsmanship, the whole 9 yards. There's even copper built into this. That's the sleeve here. It's copper.
Rock'em sock'em knockers.
Every disc golfer deserves a pair of knockers for Christmas. And these can be found at safariknockers.com. Check it out. It's actually a really cool product. I have a few of them. I use them. My kids and I enjoy them. All I can say is fantastic invention here. Definitely go check it out. Christmas is how far away? We're the 5th. I would venture to say that if you go on there now this week and purchase them, they'll show up for Christmas. And for that disc golfer who has everything, they'll go, what is this? And you say adventure disc golf. Play any hole, anywhere, anytime. It's pretty cool.
That's a good tagline right there. Adventure disc golf.
I just made it up because that's what I did with it. Great product. Great product. We'll have to make a video with it sometime. Speaking of videos, I have almost finished editing our shot by shot round. It's close because I was traveling last week. I didn't spend time on it. As Casey knows, it takes time to make videos, and so it should be out sometime. I don't want to overcommit here, but by the end of the week, it should be completed and up, maybe sooner. But it's actually entertaining. I think Ben says, I don't want to give it all away, but Ben says, because I'm editing it, 8 times, I suck at putting. Every putt, I am the worst putter in the world. I'm just going to make a collaboration
Great voice,
of him just saying that. Is that what happened, Ben?
Yeah, basically, I'm not
Put
gonna
yourself
spoil
up, by
it.
the way. We haven't
Okay.
seen your background for
Okay.
a little bit.
Got the jellyfish.
Nice.
I saw Casey at Disc Golf 978 right before we played, so and I asked him to play. And he said no, so maybe that was why my bad luck. That's why I was hoping he would play, and then ever since he couldn't play, that's when I was like, dang it, now I'm sad.
I think you
You
caught me right
were
after
fine.
the gym. and
You
there's
did.
No way. There's
Casey's
no way.
grinding out there.
I don't want to spoil the video, but for the New England people, I won't keep this long for anyone not in New England. Casey, what's your thoughts on hole 16 at Cox?
I love that hole.
I got an 8.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, I spoiled it.
Ben,
Oh
don't spoil
crap!
the video. Oh my
He
goodness.
gave it
But it's 'cause
away.
of my
That's the
putting.
teaser.
I mean,
That's
it's a ruthless hole, but I have figured it out to the point that like
What
it's
do you
ruthless
do?
to my opponents, and I love it. I throw my most overstable
Thumber?
disc on an Annie high and up to the right, and it'll just get over the hill. and-
Backhand.
yeah. And it
Oh.
just
I tried
runs
high
out of,
flipping.
it runs out of speed because it's so uphill,
And
and then
dumps.
all it does is just go left.
I
And
So
I
you're
have-
kind of like
I
aiming
have-
towards that chul and then get over it. And dump
Yeah,
it.
so there's a
Interesting.
tree in
I
the
don't have
middle
the-
of the gap. I
Yeah,
wish
you
it
go to
wasn't
the right
there.
of it.
Yes.
Okay.
And you just go wide right, but it's all about the height because it's going to have so much height because like the crest of the hill is here, and once you get so far over it, it's gaining so much altitude that it's going to have so much room to move all the way back.
98% of our listening audience has no clue what we're talking about for a hole, but we'll just say Casey's figured it out.
Yes.
It's an uphill,
Yeah.
steep uphill
I'll have to
hole.
watch our video then.
And there's, watch the video. You can see hole 16. Ben does get an 8. He gave it away,
Okay.
Sorry guys.
but he took 4 shots to get over the crest.
It happens.
And
Hey,
then
I
he
shot
took-
-4 at Pyramids Whites today, guys. I'm not that
Oh
bad.
He just has to get it out
I'm
there.
not that bad.
So we've all had bad rounds on camera. Usually I do as well. It's just I don't know. I play better than I do on camera.
I do.
usually.
Yeah.
I have something funny
hole
to add about
17
that
though,
hole though.
sick.
Tell
Love
us.
that
You're
hole.
gonna talk
Not-
shit about hole 16 and not hole 17 or
He
I
liked, what
didn't-
did he say?
I didn't say anything bad. I just straight up asked you what your opinions were.
Okay,
and Ben
okay,
said
fair
he
enough,
played bad.
fair
I
enough,
said
fair
nothing.
All right, tell us a
But
story.
I'll keep it that
All
way.
right, so hole 16. This is actually from what I believe was the Nick Carl, Simon Lizotte versus Markey and Casey
I
White
remember that.
alternate doubles
Flat rock.
at Cogs. No, we
Oh, it's
played
Cogs.
we played Flat Rock in the morning, and then we went to Cogs in the afternoon. We did like a back-to-back doubles match,
That's cool.
and we did a rematch because Simon and Nick beat us at Flat Rock. And this time we did straight up alt shot, and I had the shot on 16, and I threw it perfect. It cleared the hill and hyzered back. Like I was literally expecting it to be 1 foot. And there we get up over the hill, and there are 2 people sitting on the rock under the basket with like 2 big pit bulls. And Simon, first of all, hates dogs. Pit bulls do not do him any, like they're not better.
They're not better.
Yeah, like so. And then I'm looking at the fairway, and I'm like, hey, did you guys see a green disc come up? Like, oh yeah, it's over there. And they point 40 feet to the right of the basket in the bushes. And I'm like, No.
Yeah, how to
Like,
get there?
I put this underneath the basket, and then like we were like whatever because Simon was just trying to get out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Let's go.
But I literally am like, they fucking moved my disc. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. Whoops.
This is not
You swore
governed.
like 5 times.
All right,
already,
This
bro.
is not governed by the FCC.
I'm like, they threw my disc in the woods, and that was almost to decide the match. So I was actually kind of upset about it. Marky and I ended up taking it down, and then in the outro, I actually go, whatever, it's okay, because Simon got razzed by some pit bulls and whatever. Like, it was just like a whole.
Does
thing.
he have it on video? The pit bulls is it in the video or not?
I think that he completely like cut out the second half of 16 because it was so chaotic. Like, I'm like arguing with these random people with dogs, and like Simon's running for his life.
I just thought of a segment idea for later. Okay.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of now 17 at Cogs, I just was talking about it earlier, but played a flex tournament there,
Oh,
of
boy.
course, because they nice when they puts them on all the time. I threw a beautiful shot on 17, kind of for everyone listening, par 4, kind of go straight for a little bit, then way downhill. So got over and got downhill. Rest of the card kind of, well, maybe not rest, but a few just slow to play up, kind of time goes by. We eventually get up there and I see just this random dude walking around and he's holding my disc. And I'm like, oh, like, hey, like, that's my disc. And he's like, oh, like, I just found this.
I just found it right here.
And he just like kind of dropped it and like started walking away. Like, don't have a lot of nice words to say about Fitchburg, Massachusetts, but yeah. So in a tournament round, this guy just picked up my disc and almost tried to steal it. But
Oh my goodness. Oh,
I think the rules in that scenario, your group picks where they think it was. And that's what
Yes.
you did. And
Yeah.
so
you're gonna have to let me go on another tangent here.
Do it.
At
Oh
the
my. Let's go.
2021 World Championships, the Professional Disc Golf World Championships, the tournament of the
2021.
Holy Shot.
Mm-hmm.
This is just I don't even know what you call it. Just another thing to stack up of all the things that were going wrong with that event. There was one little path that went behind hole 2 at the fort. It was just like by the parking lot, and apparently it was like some walking path. Some guy who threw his disc onto the green was coming across the bridge and sees 2 people walking over to it. And he's like wondering why they're inquiring about it. And then like sees that the guy like notices the disc and starts walking to it. And the guy had to like step up and sprint and like stomp his foot on the disc and be like, back off, this is my disc. And apparently the guy literally just grabbed another disc and just like chucked it off to the side and was just like, and he's like, bro, do you even know what's going on here? Like, you're not supposed to be here. And the guy just had absolutely no remorse, and he was like giving the guy a hard time.
Wasn't that the
Why
tournament
did he
also
throw his
where a
disc?
golfer hit a golf ball at a player?
That was in practice, though. That was in practice.
Oh, that makes
That
it
was,
better.
that was a catastrophic event. That's
So a
one of my
lot of
favorite places in
craziness
the
there.
world.
Yeah, a lot of craziness.
I
Yes.
don't have to tell the story about it because we're already off in tangent, but I think it was the 2018 Tim Selinsky when it was in Worcester area.
That was
at Maple Hill
2019.
501.
Oh, no.
2019?
Yeah, I think
Even Hill?
Steve Dodge, we love you.
I showed up, had no clue that a major championship was happening at Newton Hill. Played hole 1, was walking up to hole 2, and I'm like, I see like a bunch of people and like some people watching it.
Please tell me
Feldberg.
you
Like,
ran
I'm
into
just
Dave
like,
Feldberg.
oh my
please.
goodness! Like, why are there so many people here? Like, thought it was weird, and then it kind of clicked on me, and I was like, is there like a tournament happening? Like, the parking lot was full, by the way. I know. I thought it was weird, so I just I walked back to the parking lot because I saw a couple people. Ended up being Sweet Hat,
Yeah, of
the
course.
disc dyer from
Yep.
the area, and I was
Sweet
like, hey,
Hat.
is there like a tournament or something happening?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
he's
boy.
like, oh yeah, like some big tournament or something. And, I didn't know what. I was like, all right, like I'll just leave them.
It's
Like,
a
I wasn't
major.
there to play a slow round. Not that I didn't want to be playing on the same course as a major championship. So went and played somewhere else, probably like Pyramids or something, and looked it up later. And I was like, wow, would you have known?
This goes way back before you were on our show because we interviewed Dave within a month or so after that event. And I remember asking him, I'm like, so Dave, you get he's like, how do the people up there in Massachusetts, they still hate me? It's like on our podcast. And I'm like, just tell us, like, what do you think is like the most misunderstood thing about Dave Feldberg? And he's like, he was able to answer. But the point is, yeah, that was that event. Like him and
Yeah.
Sweet Hat kind of went at it in the parking lot.
For the record, I 100% was
know,
not near any competition. Like hole 1 was empty, and I was like at the tee pad for hole 2 when they're like putting out. Like it wasn't like I threw on and stopped my disc. And
I was really hoping that story was going to end up with you being the first person
Yeah.
that Dave really unleashed his
Yeah.
wrath on.
Like,
Yeah.
and that would have, it could have came full circle
Yeah,
in
that's
my
what I
head
was
for
hoping
sure.
for.
Like, whoa, it was him. Okay, We did
Nope,
this
was not
earlier.
me. Just want to.
We did this earlier when I said, "Oh yeah, back to Appleton, Wisconsin." But this time I'm like, "Oh yeah, back to Paige Shue." We got way off.
we never even talked about
Oh my goodness.
So Paige Shue, she announced that she's leaving DD. It was an incredible like tribute to her time with DD, as in like you don't see many people do this like I'm leaving video.
it. Mhm.
I don't think Paul did that. Not with Innova. I
No,
don't
it was,
think
it
Ricky
was just
did
like
that.
a live wire post, like
Yeah.
Paul McBeth announces leaving.
Right. So, but she did, and I think I understand why. She's got pretty deep ties there, from her world championship to her dad being. He used to be like the event planner dude, but now he's like some.
I mean, I think it's
He's some
important
manager
enough
now.
just by first sponsorship. You know what I mean?
That
First
too.
person ever sponsor.
They talk about family at DD. A lot of manufacturers do, but like her dad's still significant. I forget. He's up high now. He's like third in charge or something.
Pretty sure he's the president. Like it,
Thank you.
The
Something like
United
that.
States.
the owner. Why am I blanking? Jeremy Rusko.
Yes.
He's like the owner still, but
Mhm.
I think Doug Bierkus
But I
is the
believe Doug is
president.
done running tournaments. I believe he said that the World Championships was going to be his last.
So kind
Yes,
of my
that sounds
point
right.
is like he's moved up as far as like status goes, and that's his daughter. And so I think I'm speculating, but she wanted to make sure with all that's in her that this was not a negative break.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to show everybody this is the best time I've ever had. I loved it. I think that was fantastic. DD then went on to post a video like, oh, we loved having Paige with us, the whole thing. Where's she going? So where's she going,
I know where
Ben?
she's going, guys.
You've decided?
Yeah, I know she's going. She's going to an open bag.
Nice.
The open bag is gonna be
Gateway and Clash.
Clash. There you go. Open bag
Ben
at
likes
Clash.
Clash, if you can't tell. So interesting take, because I was just going to say, my first thought was like, she signed up to do this nonprofit thing with Ricky or Saki Bomb Foundation.
Okay.
And she did do that. And like, I was like, I wonder if she stays because Ricky's with DD. Like, does it just work out? Right. But then when she announced she's leaving, I'm going, maybe she's trying to be like brand neutral. You know what I mean? Like manufacturer neutral. But she said in her post, like, I'm planning to compete and like keep competing. So I'm going to say, I don't think it's an open bag, but where's she going? So that's speculation,
Clash.
everybody.
I watched the video for the first time and I was like, oh, she's retiring. And then obviously I finished the video and was like, she's not retiring. She sounds like she wants to play more than she ever has. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like very, very up in the air.
So go ahead, Evan.
I want to say, I think that video was like, that was hype. Like I was like, let's go Paige Shue. Like you're like, that was amazing. It was awesome. My personal guess though, I think it's open bag. My guess is another round, based out of Charlotte mainly. They're also in Denver. They're going to get into like the kind of like I'm sure they sponsor players locally and on a small deal, but I feel like this can be like their big sponsorship and just be like, hey, like sponsored by another round, of course, open bag.
I think
from
they
there.
sponsor Sarah
They don't have
Hokum.
any dis.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that obviously she's manufacturer sponsors her main sponsor with
Mhm.
MVP. So like I'm wondering if this is gonna be main sponsor another round, but like another round put out the video or at least like reshared it. Like it just almost seems too obvious at the same time. But what I will say is Paige Shue was an incredibly good player, of course, world champion. She checking official ranks back to then, she either moved up to the top 10 with that win or like right before and was a top 10 player all the way through like middle to the end of 2020.
Yep.
And then of course toured a little
And that's
bit
when
less.
she had her kid.
Yeah. And so, but she just played the Carolina Clash last weekend and finished 14th, lost by 31 strokes to Deanne Carey, who by the way is still
On a
crushing it
heater.
and on an insane tear to end the season and then start the off season. But still 31 strokes, at like an 8 tier is a lot for someone of Paige Shue's caliber. And I'm wondering how competitive she'll be on tour all year. Maybe she just needs to get in the swing of things more. So I would just be surprised if she was like a really, really big signing for somebody trying to make a splash, whether it's like Discmania trying to add another FBO player, or is it the Lone Star making a splash? Like I just question that a little bit, but I don't want to like.
am going to
have no
default to what I think would be most exciting because that's what's fun to think about. she's going to sign some massive contract and come back like full force. And I don't think it's going to be I don't mean this derogatory, but like an off brand. Like it's going to be.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's going to be like a top 6 brand or whatever it is, you know?
She's
Like
going to sign with Latitude 64.
MVP, Latitude.
No, she's not going to Latitude.
She's not going to Latitude after that video.
Dude, the chat's
okay,
saying there's rumors about like maybe that breaking up too, like Latitude and DD and all this stuff.
Oh, really?
So, there's rumors flying everywhere, bro.
Latitude hired oh my goodness, Seth Finley to be their American branch. So there's all the talk about that. That's too
Things
much
are getting
speculation.
real.
But do you think Paige Shue will be a top 10 player by the end of, let's say, after the Pro Tour Championship?
Top 10's a good line. That's a good line over
works
under.
hard, yeah.
I think she has it in her. But the hard part is this. She shines at wooded courses, right?
Yep.
So like I see her doing like Texas States, Brewster, like
Texas States is open now.
Idlewild is pretty long, but it's wooded. Like I see her being able to keep and maintain if she picks and chooses, she plays. I think she could be top 10 pretty easy, Evan. I'm not calling it that this is what's happening, but I think that'd be most exciting to see another FPO player, a world champion that has the potential.
She has plenty left in the tank.
Yeah, exactly. It exists.
I will say that, like, I mean, it's basically the same problem I run into. Those courses ain't made for us.
I know, it's getting crazy.
So, and I don't see it going in a better direction. That would be the only thing. Like, obviously her capabilities say top 10, of course. Anybody who can win a world title, but like, I don't know. It's just a matter of seeing it.
What's the key to throwing far then?
Close your eyes.
Thank you.
And just pretend.
And just yeet.
Yeet it.
All right.
So
go ahead.
I just want to say, even if like I think it's unlikely that she's a top 10 player by the end of next season, I really do think it's unlikely. But that doesn't mean that she can't be successful next year. I think if she breaks the top, let's say 25, I think that's incredible.
Evan hates Paige Shue.
How okay?
That's like me hating Calvin.
No. I'm saying I'm giving a huge compliment to the field right now and saying it's gotten so good. Think about where we were in 2018. Like no one even knew that Kristen Tatar existed outside of Estonia. And she goes on, wins a major the next year, and now she's what we know of her today. We have more Europeans. We have players like Ella Hansen, Holland Handley. Like the field is deep. To break the top 10 next year, I think would be an incredible achievement, and I would say almost as good as her winning 2018 Worlds.
No, come on.
That sounds like I'm downplaying 2018
that.
Worlds. Maybe not almost, but it would be second to that. I don't know. It's
come
second disc golf wise.
Oh, he hates Paige Shue after that statement.
Oh my goodness.
It's pretty
Bro,
apparent.
she won the world championships, then went to Las Vegas, started the year with a win, beat Katrina in a playoff, and then she almost won Waco. She lost on like hole 18 or like
let's
17.
go Casey White with the stats. Let's go. Prove me wrong. I'm good for I'm
So
here for
we'll
that.
see.
You gotta
we'll
get
see.
Statellite for Stat Mando.
Statellite.
Just like
I can be.
contract for them. Say,
Okay.
hey, I'll give you the stats for $50 a stat.
Let's go. We'll get Casey White some database access, see what he can do.
All right.
Okay.
I mean, Dion has actually showed me quite a bit of the behind the scenes, and it's interesting. It's like very
Nice.
overwhelming to some extent.
It's very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can be, yeah.
Paige Shue.
I'm not gonna lie.
We'll kind of wrap that up. But to take it to a greater segment topic here, moving it beyond Paige Shue to just the general, greater, large, like, why are people changing up sponsors? Like, why would she? Okay. So I told you, and I'll just start with this. I told you I was surprised, or not surprised. I was like, ooh, it seems like it makes sense because she did this job with Ricky. She wants to be brand neutral. Maybe that she's going to do that. But then it seemed like, no, she wants to take on another sponsor. It sounds like that she didn't say that, but that's what it's leaning towards. She wants to compete. She could do it without a sponsor, I suppose, but I don't think that's what's happening. So why would she switch? Why would she switch? Like what leads, and we can open it to the greater large too, but like why would she switch? Why do players switch?
Okay.
Like,
So, I mean, you know, players switch for money.
yeah.
Players switch for like bad management because they don't
True.
want to work with the people they're working with.
Mm-hmm.
Players also just switch because they're not feeling it and they need that change of scenery. And that's like the most innocent way to do it. I feel like Matty O kind of said it last year. Like,
Matty O.
when he was I'm lying.
We-
Wow, that was good. Like the lip and everything. Oh my goodness.
Anyway, yeah, Matteo, when he left Prodigy and went to Westside, they're like, Matteo, you were like one of Prodigy's best players last year. Why are you deciding to leave? And he's just like, hey man, just change the scenery.
Money. They probably got the bank too. The bag, I should say.
Bank. Oh, bank.
Well, so okay, money is so. Then you have to. It begs to ask the question: like, if I'm offered and I have a career job, not disc golf, right? And someone's like, Matt, we'll give you $10,000 more a year. I'm not going. That's me. I like.
If you like your brand.
Well, yeah. I mean, you'd have to not like where you're at. You'd probably be almost leaving anyways. You might even take a deal. You'd be like, I'll take less to leave. But let's say you like where you are. Like, what's the number? Like, I actually really like where I am in my career job. Maybe you like where you are with Discmania. But the point is, like, there has to be a line where you're like, you're going to have to offer me a lot more because you're so used to where you are, your career, the whole thing. Like, that line changes based off of the player. Like Paul McBeth.
Yeah.
Someone's like, dude, I'll give you $2 million a year. Does Paul change out of Discraft?
Do you want to know what the problem is with disc golf? I think
Okay.
is that everybody's contracts are under wraps.
It's true.
Like that is a problem because
It's a problem for the players.
it's a problem for the players, but we are the ones that like if the players guess what? If every single player banded together and said we don't feel like we get paid enough, nobody sign up for the tour card. We're all just going to say no. Like that could happen. We are the product. So it's almost
Lockout.
like we are. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
Oh my
possible. It's not like I'm
goodness.
saying it should happen. I'm just saying like this is like the grand scheme of what is possible.
Yep.
So in that sense, in that very, very abstract idea, we have the power. But in the sense of the contracts that we sign with the manufacturers are like, hey, you're going to sign this and yep, you're going to be happy and don't show that to anybody. You know what I mean? But then when I'm on the scoreboard and I'm like, wait a second, why did I sign this contract? Because freaking Joe Schmo over here is getting $50K and he hasn't even signed up for an event yet this year. You know what I mean? It's just like we have that direct comparison that we can literally look like, I don't know what you do for work, Matt, but there's no scoreboard at your job saying who's doing the most productive work. I mean, maybe there is, but like I know that like
probably not directly.
Maybe
yes,
in
exactly.
sales, but
like
like,
you
yeah.
don't walk up to the front door and be like, all right, another day of work. Okay, let's see who's beating me for productivity. All right, so I got to.
Do you know, off topic a little bit, Amazon, again, here we're talking about
Hey, I
people
don't
love
care.
or hate people, but Amazon did that. They gamified their like production with people. Like at lunch breaks, you could go and see like where you're stacking
Yeah.
up and they get points. And they actually made it. I heard this or I read this. They did like a little car race. Like the more
Oh,
productive
yeah.
you were, like the car was like racing.
And then like everybody, they do like a pizza party for the best team.
but the
Yeah, why
point
not
is
don't
that
watch
that'd
The
be a
Office
bad-
here. Like, remember how Dwight's trying to beat the computer?
yes,
Like, there's that
I
whole
love The
thing. You're trying to
Office.
beat sales, like Ben was
Yes.
saying. But I mean, there's also like I'm gonna get into the Office world for a little bit. There's like reporting tools where you can see who has the most tickets assigned to them and who's done the most, who has the most total open issues you got to work. Like I have all this stuff, and I'm like I have so many, and I'm doing so much, and it's just the way it's reported, of course. Like, but you can see that too. So not as much as hundreds of thousands of fans watching
Yeah.
and being like, oh yeah, you finished 45th for the second tournament in a row. Like nobody outside the company knows how I'm doing. You guys have no clue how my performance is at my
Right,
job.
yeah.
Well, there- okay,
so maybe
so-
that's the point you're trying to make.
Right. But there is, so it's like an annual performance evaluation, right? Like, hey, let's talk about how you did, all that kind of stuff. But to your point, no, you're not walking in every week and being like, oh, how'd you
No.
play? But so just for fun, like, I don't know how much money you're making. Okay. You don't need to disclose that. Maybe you can't disclose that.
Yeah, let's start the revolution now. Breaking
No, I was just gonna
news,
say, is that-
Casey.
is that
start
part-
it.
is
Start
it-
on this podcast.
Is it part of your agreement to like not talk about it?
I don't think so.
Okay. You don't have to, but my point is like, how much more would you have to be offered by a company? Like in money, money wise, if
that's
someone
a
offered you
very-
$10,000 more dollars, would you do
I
it?
feel like I am very much the right person to be asking that. You know why?
Why?
Because I value my relationship with Discmania more than a dollar amount can show.
So this is what I'm talking about, right?
Yes. Like
Well,
I feel like I'm
more-
a perfect example.
There's a number.
There is a number, of course. There has to be a number.
What is it for
There
you?
has to be a number.
1 million.
It's
250,000.
It's a matter of like I am where I'm
100,000.
at in my life right now. I'm not rich. I am not Like
Yeah.
I can just do nothing all day. Like I still have to do my job and get my work done in order
We all
to
do.
stay afloat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, everybody has the scenario where like, if I were to have X amount of dollars, my life could completely change forever. And like, honestly, my number is probably a lot weaker than most just because of the position of my career that
So
I'm in.
what is it? 50,000, 75,000?
See, and that's the other thing is it depends on the company, because there are just some
Yeah.
companies out there that I've already told myself I will not play for them. Some of them decided to not sponsor me, but when they had the chance, some of them I just know from
I know
other
who that
players
is.
that they don't want to deal with
Yeah.
them anymore. And it's just like, I absolutely value my relationship with Discmania, my personal, like, not even just like I love the thing about Discmania is like I can call some guys from Discmania and have a personal buddy phone call and it's not business. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But then after 10 minutes, we say, okay, is there anything business we want to talk about? You know what I mean?
Let's get to the business.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of my point, though, is that there's a lot tied into people, and it's not just money. That's what I'm trying to say is like, what do they say? The monster you know is better than the one you don't know.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, I'm happy here.
Yeah, see?
I might not be making that much,
Yep.
but like I'm happy, and even if I get X amount of dollars more, maybe it's going to be worse. Like it's just not going to be as good. So I'm just curious, what do you think, is the compelling, like, why would Paige Shue leave? But that's in anybody. What were you going to say, Evan?
Well, what I was going to say is I think there's, for a player who's not at the, let's say, Paul McBeth, Ricky Wysocki status, there's two very different paths. There's one where you want to go full loyalty, and that really drives your brand. And I think Casey is in that boat, and that's kind of what he's been saying. And then I think there's the other path where switching more often, it actually benefits you a lot. One, I mean, you're getting talked about switching here, switching there. But two, like you get fresh discs, and people, if someone's on the same team, but they're kind of a lower level player and they have, a Tour Series disc that comes out every year, and it's the same disc and it's not really like notable, it might become stale. But if they switch a lot, or they're switching up maybe the type of disc too, it can be this really fresh perspective. People are like, oh yeah, I want to support them, and now I'll try a new disc. I'm going to try this new company that I don't have because my bag's all this one or a couple. And so it's like a weird where I wouldn't want to be like in between, like half loyal but half switching. I like almost would want to switch like every year, every 2 years, or really be loyal to it.
It'd be like instead of just settling and buying a house, you'd be like moving into a new apartment every year, and you just have to go through that whole process. And it's like, hey, this is new, this is nice, but then you're like, oh, I got to pack it all away and do it all over again 9 months later. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like, it's just like, do you want to drag yourself through that torture or not?
And the oddest part about it is not only is your brand, but it's also like how you play the game. Like, I mean, you know the disc that you have if you're with
Trust
one
me.
brand for
Yeah,
so
you're
long.
talking to the right guy.
And not that a different company can't also have good discs, but you got to learn a whole new bag. And if you're someone who has kind of grown as a professional with one brand, it can be really challenging. Where also, if you're someone who's like, I'll just give me a disc, I'll throw anything. Maybe it's totally easy, but that has to factor in as well.
And Ricky is one of those people. Throw any disc in his hand, it's going in the basket.
And
there you go.
That's a video.
Paul's pretty close to that too. But and I think any top
for sure.
20, probably top 10. Like you're pretty good.
I mean, James Conrad switched companies, won a world title.
You know how a disc flies. You can probably
Paul
make
McBeth.
anything. So
Yeah, but Paul McBeth's Paul McBeth. Like, we won't talk about him tonight because Nick Carl's not here.
Yeah, fair enough.
boom, roasted. Okay. Nick, we love you.
To your Paige Shue question, like I am left with so many questions about why she did switch, but I think it'll be answered when it gets announced, which is the most boring answer ever because we don't know where she's going. But like if she goes to just like a small open bag, or maybe not even a big sponsor that tells me, okay, like she's really focusing on other things. But then if she has this big splash where she's actually getting signed by, it doesn't need to be an establishment. It could be an up and coming one, maybe like a Lone Star or Mint or Clash. If it's any one of those, it's like, okay, like she's serious and she's trying to attack this year, which is what a lot of people think. So I don't have a guess right now without guessing where she's going.
Yeah, but I think I do have something to add on that. And that's kind of like what I was saying about just like the change of scenery. I didn't really deep dive into that. But what I'm saying is like, she's been with Dynamic for as long as her disc golf career has been a real thing.
13 years old, I think she said.
And it's almost a sense of like comfortability to the point where she's so comfortable she might not hold herself accountable. So
True.
say Dynamic is just like, hey, Paige, you can do whatever you want and you can play as many tournaments as you want or don't play any. We don't care. We love you and we'll support you and you're going to be with us forever. But maybe she's finally like, I'm so comfortable that I need to be uncomfortable and go out and get it and have that want and that fire. So I'm thinking if she signs with a new manufacturer and there's a ladder to climb, that's the term I always use. I say I'm climbing the ladder. And if there's a ladder to climb and it sparks that fire, the motivation is there. She can go out and, work on her game, work on just competitive fire.
Interesting. That's why we brought you on the show. And one last take on Paige Shue. Look at where she's at right now. They signed a blockbuster deal for FPO last year in Kona.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay. And then who showed up this year and
Holland
performed
Hanley,
really well?
Macy Vela-Diaz.
And
Valerie Mando.
There you go.
I'm thinking that she's not at the top of her game right now, Paige Shue. She's not at the top of her game. And that was not something maybe she was, this is speculation. This is what we do. It was something that maybe she didn't want to have to try to fight to get up. Like, is the money going to be there for her? Like, does she feel like they have to promote her because she was a world champion, but she's not actually the player right now?
She didn't want to turn into like the EMAC figure.
This is what I'm saying.
He's got a one-time next to his name. You remember this guy?
And you're just here because you're here? Yeah, kind of. Speaking of EMAC, I have an EMAC from Discraft. I have his like Discraft Wasp EMAC World. Yeah.
Well,
TI
nice.
Wasp.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. TI Wasp.
I also have a Paige Pierce TI
Stalker.
Yeah. When it was like, what was she like, 3-time world or 1-time?
Not even. I think
something.
It was one, maybe 2.
So I've got that, and then she's back at Discraft. I'm like, I'll just hold on to that. But
nice.
Anyways, there's a lot of reasons people leave. I think we hit on probably just about all of them. And the very obvious John Madden statement is like, it's going to be better for them. That's why they're leaving.
I mean, there is just one other thing that people leave, and like sometimes people leave without even another contract lined up. They're just like, hey, I don't want to be here.
Why? I feel like I know people who have done that. Is there any public ones that we know about where they've done that?
I think that Drew Gibson did that with Innova.
It was something I was going to say. I've heard it.
It was just like, hey, I don't want to be here.
But they didn't come out and say necessarily they didn't have something lined up, but then they're like, quick, like line something up. Yeah. Interesting stuff. I will say my take is still that we are going to see something exciting no matter what, even if it's Paige Shue. But I'm thinking that the money is out there now. Players that have stuck, there's still a lot of players that have started, like Paige, have started where they are, stayed with the company. And as Evan pointed out, and I agree 100%, staying with a company, and I know this with my company, I had to take a whole new role with my company to get a significant raise. Like it had to be a whole new thing. Like we're creating a new position, then I got the raise. If it's just you staying in your position, you'll never get that big bump that maybe you deserve. So I'm thinking there's people who are still with their companies that have only been with their companies, that the money is going to be offered somewhere else greater. In the past, remember what year was this? Was it Chris Dickerson going to Discraft? It was
last year.
Yeah. So there was a certain year where we were all talking about it and we were saying like, I remember we were speculating about Eagle. Like there was all these people, Calvin Heimberg.
Yep.
Like I was thinking DD was offering.
They were both. Okay. They were both being approached.
They were being shopped.
Ooh.
Everybody gets shopped. Everybody's getting shopped all the time. Is my point. We don't know about it. When the deal is right, someone will accept it, and I think it's going to happen for years on out until everybody's shifted enough, and then they'll do it again.
Yeah, of course, because then the person that shifted, like Paul
like 10
McBeth,
years ago.
now it's been 10 years since he's on with Discraft.
Exactly.
He's like, hey, let me go.
So
sit
back. I think we're going to have a show. This offseason's been boring to this point. Well, in some ways.
I mean, it's still not really the off season. These people are still playing tournaments.
True.
I mean, I'm not. It's been off season for me for a little bit, but actually, I wanted to say quick on that note. You said Deanne Carey won the Carolina Clash. Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yes.
AJ Carey, her husband, got second at the Chainhawk Open in Gainesville, so it was a good weekend to be a Carey. First place and second place at A tiers.
Oh my goodness! Guys, this is a huge fluff on me. I'm looking at Carolina Clash from last year. How did that happen?
He's looking at last year. But she did win the Carolina Clash last year. I was there.
Stat or
Fiction Mando. Fiction Mando.
Some Charlotte, multiple Charlotte people are gonna be like, "What are you talking about?"
The funny thing is,
and be like, "Evan hates me."
You should do more stat or fictions
Here
like
I
that.
am referencing 2021. How did I mess that up?
You should do more sadder fictions like that. Like
You should
sadder fiction. The Carolina Classic happened this week.
Carolina Clash.
Or Carolina.
But
Okay.
you should look at who got
Guys,
7th in that tournament.
She finished 4th. I mean, it was 15 strokes, not 31. That's much more respectable.
Oh, we're talking about Paige Shue now
oh
because
my
you got
goodness.
Paige Shue's stats wrong.
You slandered her. That's hilarious.
I didn't slander her. I
30
said she could finish
strokes.
top 25 in the world would be incredibly good, and that was the point I was trying to make. Not
No,
that I
30
didn't think she could
strokes.
ever be a top
that
10
was
player
last
again.
year.
Okay.
Whew.
Okay, I have
All
one
right,
question.
my bad there.
I have one question
She
on that.
finished 4th.
So she
Ask.
lost
A
by
little better.
30 strokes with dynamic bag, and she might have been throwing a mixed bag this weekend.
Whoa.
What do you think?
Whoa. That's a
I
stat.
guarantee she's throwing a mixed bag.
You think so?
As in like right now.
Like she ended the contract Saturday, Sunday morning, final round, new bag, all new discs.
no, she
right?
already had discs. She
I
had
know,
discs from
this-
other. I'm saying like she had discs from other companies.
Yeah.
that she can play with.
No, because people were either shopping her or she was shopping
Yeah.
them, and they're shipping her discs.
Yeah.
And they're saying try these out.
But now she's exposing to her opponents all her secrets.
no, well maybe that's okay, right?
It's
does
up
word
to you.
travel fast?
It can, but
it
like
does.
word can travel fast between the players, but
Oh, yeah, it
sometimes it
does.
does. It has the ability to not escape the in between the players. You know what I mean?
I will tell you this from my time spent with some of the best players in the world. If I was to ask, do you know what's going on? And they look at me and they're like, and you're like, you do. Like I feel like everybody in that network of people knows what's going on. They're like, I know where he's going, what deal he's getting. And I know, like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Whether they're close and they have conversations with each other, or it's just
Yeah.
conversation.
I mean, I feel like I'm mostly in the loop for a lot of the moves, and like sometimes just instinct. Like I said it all year. I'm like, oh, Chris is definitely going Discraft.
Yeah.
I said Katrina was going Discraft too, but she ended up DGA.
Close.
It's just close, but that's still. I was like, that was a shocker to me.
Yeah. Yeah, we were speculating on that one. That one was interesting. But okay. So anyways, my point is we don't have anything to divulge right now. I think, we're going to have more as we go. We're not at the end of the show yet. We're not there, but we're going to take off 2 weeks leading up to Christmas. So we'll remind you next week we're still on, but we'll be taking 2 weeks off. Things may not happen. I don't know if I have a predictor that things are going to happen before Christmas. I think the new year is where you'll start to hear about things.
Sure.
I think it's going to be end of contracts at the end of the year, end of
Yeah.
the calendar year, and then early January, maybe some rumblings last week of the calendar year, but I think early January is going to be exciting. I
course.
want to just quickly wrap up the stat correction, because when you said AJ Carey won the chain hawk, I'm like, okay, that
No,
happened.
he got
How was
second. I was
Deanne
saying he got
not
second.
there. Yeah, he came in second. How was Deanne Carey not there? It made no sense.
That's
to me.
why
So
I was
thanks-
confused when you said Deanne
Yeah.
won Carolina. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
They
thanks
just
for saying
decided
that,
to do two
because
completely different
I would
events.
assume they'd play in the same state at least. She also finished second.
Hey,
but,
still a good weekend to be a carry.
Yeah, still a great weekend for her. I mean, her podium dominance as of late,
I know.
with Chloe House coming in first. But yeah, AJ Carey comes in second. So that's very cool that, a couple comes second in both events, both divisions. I'm sure they wish there was a first, but that's still incredibly good.
He lost to
they're athletes,
Garrett
so they're
Girth,
always
who's
gonna
been
want to
playing
do
that course longer than AJ's been alive,
Yeah, exactly. So I think no discredit there.
which I also got 7th at that event. I got 7th at that and Carolina Clash last year. That's really funny.
All right, moving along. We got a lot to accomplish. We still got time to do it. I'm going to share a quick opinion. You can react or not, and we can just move on. But I feel like originally I was like, Paul McBeth's new apparel options for the World Championships wasn't really my thing. I saw a photo shoot where they actually had people wearing the shirts, and it was like a lifestyle type photo shoot where like you could see it in real life. To me, it took on a little different twist to it. And I said, oh, actually looks pretty good. It's weird. So I guess my take here is like things on people look better than things clipped and just posted on like social media. You know what I mean?
Do
Like,
you want to know how I judge like branded apparel?
how?
Could I wear that to a concert? Like, am I going to wear a shirt that just staples a label on me on the back across my shoulders? Probably not. I mean, especially like when everybody behind you is going to be looking. So like, that's usually what I do. I'm like Brian Earhart, perfect example. His logo with the bear and the heart in the middle. Like,
Best logo in
that's
disc
one of my
golf.
it's one of my favorite hoodies. I wear it all the time. I think
Yeah.
it's absolutely one of the best logos in disc golf. It is him.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But I don't know. Maybe you guys didn't see it, but I literally,
I did see it.
I guess I just literally found myself going, okay, if I was like 80% like and now I'm like, oh, maybe I'm 60% Like it just seemed like it looked better. I was like, I can see it in real life. Looked a little better. I know we talked about it, and Nick told me he walked out of his room that night, and Paul was sitting in his living room. And Paul's like, "So you don't like our apparel, huh?" Nick's like, "No, no,
No, Paul, please."
I'm just kidding. It didn't go quite like that. I'm kind of razzing.
Did you guys see Paul's post pretty much about a giveaway? Like wear one of this collection
tag it.
sweaters to an ugly sweater party.
Oh,
and then tag
interesting.
us. Like yeah, he's obviously leaning into it. You know that the internet thought one way about it. But clearly, I don't think it was that bad. I think it was a massive overreaction. And Paul said himself, they got to be upset about something. It's the internet, right? But when they're posing for that, and it's like, wear this for your ugly sweater party, I'm like, you would be laughed out of the room if you wore that because it's so normal. Like, just come on.
I like the second collection
not at Paul making the post, but just about anyone who would take that seriously. I thought it was hilarious. It's a brand for specific people, and that's okay. Everyone's hitting their audience.
And this coming from me and you, and as far as I know, none of us have like an apparel line, if you will. I mean,
CW.
you have a logo and you have a hat, right? You can buy. Do you have a whole collection?
I am going to.
The Casey White
But
collection's
it's not going
coming.
to be like that. It's just like, it's just stuff.
It's gonna actually look good. Is that what you're trying to say here?
It's just
You're saying
gonna
his
look way
logo looks
better.
bad, Evan?
Okay,
No,
guys.
He's saying like
Paul's
Paul's is no match for the Casey White apparel coming in hot.
Dude, people are loving Casey on the Nick and Matt show. We'll have to see about this being a thing, but
Well, I'm here for another month.
Yeah, someone said they like you more now. So
yeah, all right.
That's one thing.
I don't know what I did before or didn't do before, but I'm glad I could change that.
Yep.
Guys, Casey's a real person if you didn't know.
Yeah. He is.
And we took a totally different route with him. We're not interviewing him, but we're allowing him to share what's going on, which is cool.
I feel like I'm literally just filling Nick's shoes.
Good job.
Basically.
Let me see.
But like,
let me see your shoes.
I don't know.
Yeah, just remember every time you make a good point, just say, yeah, like everything like that.
And everything like that. That's his filler word. That's his filler word.
Yeah.
And everything like that.
Everything like that.
And we also say field of strength on this show.
For some reason,
we don't say strength of field. We say field of strength.
Okay. To defend him here, I think that was you. And then he was
absolutely. No, I said on this show. I said on this show, that's what we do. That's what
I saw a comment that said Nick, one of his mannerisms, he says too, like too much or something like that. So I was like,
why are we razzing Nick? He's not
I'm
even
not razzing him. I just never noticed that. I don't know. People pick up the weirdest things.
Would you say that to his face, Ben?
I'll call him right now. Too.
Call him right now. Okay. So moving on from that. I've talked a lot, but I have one more thing to talk about before we get into some fun topics. And this one's kind of fun. It is lighthearted to me, but I do want to say it. I see it commented. I don't want to use the word fairly often, but enough over the past 3 years on the Nick and Matt show. Social media comments, YouTube comments, things of that nature, where people will be like, you guys like horrible journalism, or they're like, you got to work in your journalism, or like whatever. They're going on all these things. And I always tend to start typing and I'm like, I'm going to try to explain myself. And then I just stop. I delete it. I'm like, it's not worth it. The latest one was on the Nico Castro interview. And if this is you that I'm talking about, great. Like you get to hear this and I have nothing but love for you, but it's just literally how I'm like, I'm going to get it off my chest. We are not journalists. The Nick and Matt show is not journalism. You might say, well, it is by what you're doing. But if you look up the definition of journalism, it's people who prepare stuff like for like news content or news articles or stories. You might say what we talk about is newsworthy, but like we're not preparing it for that purpose. We're literally recording a conversation that we're having and we're making it public. The same thing when I interviewed Nico and Nick and I interviewed Nico. Like we're recording a conversation with a pro disc golfer that we've decided to make public. And so if I was to talk to Casey White off air like we did before, and I was just talking to him all like journalistic, I'm like, so Casey White, and like you're in studio, like before we recorded, like that's not how it would be. I talked to you, and maybe you disagree, Casey. I talked to you the same before the show as we did during the show. In fact, I was like, let's just save these conversations for the show.
Yeah, for sure. And I was like trying to hold back to make sure we didn't like miss out on the good content.
Exactly. The point is we wanted to have genuine, authentic conversations, record them, and make them public. So could we be journalistic in our interviews and be really formal and press on the topics? The same thing we could have done for Natalie Ryan, for Nico Castro, for Paul McBeth, for anybody that we have on our show. That's not our style. We're just going to record our conversations. And frankly, if I side with the person who's in the interview seat, then I do. Like, I'm not here to play like impartial or anything else. So we're not journalists. We're the Nick and Matt show. We bring our biases.
Let's go.
We literally bring our biases and share our biases. Like, that's just, we're not trying to be. In fact, let me shout out Ultiworld. Like, they do a pretty good job at that.
Yeah.
They can give hot takes and all that, but like, they're way more journalistic. That's their style.
Straight up interview style if they do have a guest.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I don't know.
Wes Yeager said,
We can do better. We can do better anyways. I'll say that, but I'm just saying we're not journalists, and that's not what we intend to do.
Wes Yeager said research and investigation versus a conversation. I think that puts it perfect.
Sure.
We're having a conversation.
Sure. Anyways, I didn't have to get it off my chest, but when I read those comments, they're like, they said our interview with Nico was more enablism than journalism. And I'm like, we were not trying to like do either. So anyways, that's all. I don't rant very often, but there it was.
That was a good rant. I
Yeah,
kind of got locked into that.
Like once every 2-3 months, and then it's just like, whoa, where did that come from?
That has some power to him.
I just bring it here instead of like chatting it in the comments with people and going back and forth. I'm like, I'll just record it.
Yeah.
They can comment again.
We should call them out one username by username.
So we thought of doing an episode. Do you ever get any like hateful comments or like comments that are like negative to you, and you're like, it hurts your feelings a little bit?
No, they don't hurt my feelings.
Not anymore.
No. Well, I mean,
I
like it. I read them, and honestly,
You heard it here.
I love to be the person that when I see a negative comment, I remember somebody said something in the Razor Claw review video that Simon and I did January 2020. And it was just like, Casey looks like he would have been a good clown at a kid's birthday party. He probably terrifies kids. And I literally just went in there as Casey White Disc Golf and went, thanks, Brian. And then he immediately started to retract his statement. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
Yeah,
and I'm like, no, you just didn't think I'd see it. So I'm just cool with just being like, thanks, man. And with like a crying, laughing emoji.
I do that with the Nick and Matt show.
Hold him accountable. You got to hold him accountable.
I did it once where there was a significant comment that actually hurt my feelings. I've come a long way in 3 years, I'll tell you that. But in the beginning, it was like, and we're all going to laugh at this now because we all know and it's funny. But like, man, like, Matt, you suck. You talk so much and you're horrible at interviews because you just cut everybody off. And like, I was like, in the beginning, I was kind of hurt by that. But I went on there and I was like, yeah, man. I'm like, I actually feel the same way. Like, I feel like I need a lot of work to do. I was being just genuine. And the guy's like, oh my goodness, retract. I apologize. That was mean of me, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, dude, like, people are weird. They comment things and don't think you're going to like, no.
You're like an entity to them until you comment back.
So
if you comment it, you better mean it and you better hold on to it.
Yeah, you better
or delete it really quick.
Like if I replied to like a comment making fun of me or something, somebody just commented on Simon's video that said my facial hair makes me look like a Disney villain.
I saw that comment.
And like I'll just comment to them and be like, thanks, bro. And then like they better be like, haha, got him. You know what I mean? Like rather than be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, don't be sorry. You
that one was funny.
That's an easy
funny.
Vlogmas idea.
So where
to show
you
up like, I don't even know Disney villains. Why can't I come up with one on the spot?
Like do I look like
the dude from
Aladdin?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Jafar. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Jafar. That was the first.
minion
person.
show
dude.
up as him.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Who?
Yeah.
What'd you say, Matt?
You could be any.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Hey, I called Calvin a Muppet. I'm just calling you
that was hilarious.
When Casey can't believe it.
Tell him how you described it.
We were playing a game and not a
call
game.
him Beaker?
No. I was trying to remember, and for some reason, I had a major brain freeze. And I'm like trying to tell the show and everybody here about Calvin. But I'm like, I can't remember.
Who's
My
that
brain's
guy?
frozen.
Yeah.
Who's that guy? I'm like, he plays for Innova, da, da, da. And then I'm like, he looks like a Muppet. That's like what came out. Because that was the time. Do you remember during the season?
Of course
His
I do.
hair was
Of
just
course I do.
massive.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, he looked, I don't know.
Wait,
No
it was
offense.
with Chris Dickerson. He was like, Calvin? Did Chris say that right?
Dickerson was the interview.
That was,
And I
yes.
was trying to explain who. And Dickerson's like, is that Calvin?
Oh my God.
I think he said that. Yeah.
You're right.
Man, he actually like when you were saying, I was as dumbfounded as you were. So I'm
Yes.
glad Chris was actually like, all
He-
right, like
he
I know
figured
you're
it out. I'm
talking
like,
about it in
thank
the
you.
most polite way possible.
I told Calvin
All right.
about this, by the
We
way.
just talked about calling out comments. I don't look anything like Sid from Toy Story. Like, not even close. Like that's not even close.
That's in the chat.
No, it's not.
The chat
Hold
just
on,
called
let me-
out Casey.
Let me think.
Sid
You
from
don't.
the story.
I'm going down. I'll
You
find
don't.
you a Sid from Toy Story.
Hold on, I'll
on
pull
tour.
it up in a minute.
On tour. Ooh.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
I gotta pull it up.
if you had like a shaved
If
head,
Gannon Burr had brown or dark hair, he would kind of look
And like
Sid.
braces, yeah.
Yeah, and
but it's
braces.
like buzz. It's like a buzz cut,
Yeah.
right? Isn't
I
that
got
what Sid
hair.
has?
Let me see.
And like wears like skull
Bro.
t-shirt. Like,
Hold on a second. Go. Let me
man.
see how we can do this full
Display
screen
two?
somehow. Oh, that's a YouTube
Whoa, whoa,
video.
whoa,
Oh, it's a
whoa,
YouTube
no,
video.
we
I
don't
don't
want
want
that.
YouTube. Oh no!
Hey.
Stop.
Oh, desktop audio's off. We're good.
Okay. Well, just go to display 2 real quick, just for a short little
3,
blip.
2.
That's Sid.
There we
Yeah,
go.
okay. Pull it
okay,
down.
he does. Yeah, okay.
He does.
I was misremembering him. It's been so long. I
Evan
don't
goes,
know.
He
He
does.
does.
You're saying I look like Sid, bro?
Sid. Evan's not even saying no.
I know.
Wait, hold on. I'm just out of the loop here.
The comment said that Casey looks like Sid from Toy Story, and I'm
And I said
saying,
no.
And I
Then you just said he does.
And then Casey said,
Oh,
"You
sorry,
think I
okay.
do?" And you went
Ow.
like this.
Wait.
I have no
All
idea
right.
what's happening.
But then Coach Broad just
I said
commented
that
and
Sid had a buzz cut, and
Yes,
when he showed
right,
that, I
you're
was
right.
like, "Oh, he doesn't have a buzz cut. He actually has hair."
Okay.
Then Coach Broad
That's
just
what I was
commented and
saying I
said, "At
didn't
least you're
know
not
about.
Sid from Ice Age like
I-
Terry Roethlisberger."
Oh, that's a burn.
Terry's our buddy, so that's cool.
All right. So that got pretty funny for a minute there. I love miscommunication because we can take it and run with it. All right. Just like everyone says, I hate Calvin. I've told Calvin about that, and he looked at me like, really? And I'm like, I don't, though. Okay.
And he won 2 events this year, so it's like you can't say anything.
I
anymore.
can't say anything anymore.
Both in a playoff, undefeated at Elite
I
Series.
can't
playoffs.
say anything anymore. My
How'd you know
take
that,
used to
Casey?
be
3-0,
Yeah.
along with Ken Climo and Jeremy Colling.
my take used to be on this show, and it was over and over like, pick Calvin. He's not going to win. Like, as in, like, he's not going to win. I always said this. He is the best player in the world
For
that
second
doesn't
place.
win. Yeah, that doesn't win. Like, he's so incredible. Anyways,
Yeah.
and then he started winning as
Yeah,
soon
for
as I
sure.
said that.
But like it happens.
Yep.
He wins.
He did.
And then yeah,
But because up to that point, he had one like vintage open, like,
That's like Katrina Allen.
Silver.
I pick Katrina Allen in my grip 6 every single week because she is a lock for second or first. You know what I mean?
true.
just
All
not
right.
first.
We've gone through a lot. We still have a little bit more to go here. So I know we said we're going to talk about rules. I don't know if it's worth it. That sounds boring. We'll let the chat kind of react to that. I think that could be boring.
Yeah.
I feel like, let me just look.
It's
There
just
was
a bunch of revisions.
a lot of wording revisions, like refund stuff on tournaments. There might be something that interests you in there. If you think there's an interesting one that you want to talk about, throw it in the chat.
We're
But
talking about the rules now.
well, we're not going to. I think. Let me just see. I'm just seeing wording changes.
It's
Casey
all-
was stoked to rant.
Yeah, I mean, I've got
Oh,
mine's gonna be in like the next section, probably like the rules that would be cool. But
that's going to be
couldn't
fun.
work.
We're going to do that. We're going to move to that. But like, one of the things that changed in the rules and it infuriates everybody is you can't now squash your disc up into a ball and just throw it in the basket. It says you have to throw, let me see, intentionally deforming a disc such that it is not circular, saucer-like
Mhm.
configuration. So,
Saucer like,
Yeah.
love it.
oh, what's my saucer looks different than your saucer. So, anyways, like rules like that, that's an interesting one. But usually it's the wording changes and refunds. Like I said, practice rounds, baskets being made available, dress codes got some wording changes, but like nothing stands out as amazing and like earth shattering, which is why it was kind of interesting to see Nico comment what he did. He's like, "Now's the time and the place I put my foot down," and it's like, all right, Nico.
All right.
All right, so we're off the rules. I don't think we're going to actually do that unless somebody really has something interesting in the chat. Says, let's talk about it. Here's the segment. Ready? Rules that could be cool, but are probably pretty bad ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start out.
Go ahead.
Timeouts. A player is able to call a timeout,
Ooh.
like a certain amount of timeouts, like just like in football, like you get a certain amount of timeouts, 2 of them or whatever, where it's like it goes from 30 seconds to like you get like 2 minutes. So like you're about to throw, but you're like, dude, like I just don't feel right. Like I gotta refresh. I gotta come walk over here, take a breather. I need a 2-minute timeout.
Okay, so I can go
Talk
first
about
on
this
that.
if you
So
want.
actually, something that I've talked about, this is really funny with Dave Feldberg, is like a 2 times per round. being allotted an extra time.
So that okay, very similar.
You
Okay,
throw
so
your
yeah,
disc
Jeremy-
into the
Jeremy
center
Colling
of
also
a
had this
30-foot
idea
wide
recently.
thorn bush, and you need to figure out how the heck not only you're going to throw out of it, but get to your line.
sure.
And you say, I'm going to need extra time on this, and that turns your 30 seconds into 2 minutes or whatever.
That's
it
what I'm
is.
saying, right?
And like that's your one for the front 9 or whatever, and then the back 9 you get one, and like, you know, it doesn't really change anything because it's only in the scenario that you need it that it's being used. Like, I mean, Big Germ has actually been on my car before, the very first hole of Idlewild. Honestly, it wasn't even that tough of a spot. It's just like his difference in gameplay where he's such a sidearm dominant player. Like for somebody like me who loves to just throw a backhand and he flex, like I was literally just standing there, just holding my arm out, just looking at his line, just going, yep, backhand and he flex. But he was like, sorry guys. And I'm talking first hole of the tournament. So he's being over apologetic. And I'm like, dude, just do whatever you got to do, man. Like, I'm not gonna like, I'm sorry that this is taking so long for you. Like, that's the way I look at it. Like, I don't think that him sitting here and tossing together 3 discs and like making his brain go spinning is helping him in any way. So like, I'll just be here and wait until it's time for you
So
to throw.
good rule or bad rule? Everyone has to vote. Evan,
Good.
generally.
I think it's a good rule.
Good
As
rule.
long as it's
This is not having it hashed
out.
out yet. Right. There would have to be a lot details figured out. But
Yeah.
generally, do you think it's a good
It can't
rule,
be an
Evan?
unlimited amount.
No, it's not unlimited.
Yeah, my gut is bad rule, but I'm also thinking in like I almost want to say a bad way, but not quite. More of a
There's a lot of people-
commercializing the sport. Is think about this
Go to
league card.
commercial break.
Let's say Gannon Burr, he's on a lot of league cards. Let's say
Yep.
he's planning up a shot and he's like, hey, I'm calling a timeout.
Yep.
He gets 2 minutes. DGN's like, sick. Let's go throw it to a commercial. Like it might be that day, one day.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But they might love that.
So how much time does that add to a round?
I'm
Like
so
the
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
whole
You, as
course,
long
if you
as
had
you're
2 per
allotted to a
player.
certain number, and I'm
But
saying,
what if everybody used it on one hole, Casey? The card of 4,
do you want to know what I think?
8
I
minutes
think
extra.
everybody already does it. That's the difference.
I agree with
think
you.
that
Let's
everybody
go.
already does it, but it's not allowed.
So let's make it like actually legit.
Actually legit, where it's actually like an enforced
Yeah,
thing
it
that
had
you
to
can
be
announce.
enforced.
I
I
am
agree.
going to take forever. Like you announce it and say, this shot sucks. I am going to take a long time to figure this out. So it's not just, okay, he's sitting, he's pumping, he's going to go. Okay, this is the one. He's lining up. He's holding
And then
it,
he goes back and
then he's
changes
gonna
his
keep
disc.
pumping. Yeah, and then he turns back to the back. Exactly. Then you're left in the wonder. If he's doing timeout, you're not expecting it. And like, people can like, I don't even know. You can do stuff that you don't have to be paying attention at that very moment. Like it could be bad. It could be worse though.
2 times. This is my final take on it. 2 times during the round, you can take 2 minutes.
Mhm.
Just like you can to look for a lost disc. I think if there's another situation that you deem you want that time, you take it. So it's probably a pretty bad idea, but it's cool to think about. That's why this segment
It's a good
exists.
bad
I'm going
idea.
to close the statement as it happens already. So why not let it be allowed a couple times?
That's a slippery slope.
I think they'd have to enforce the 30 seconds more for that.
Everything would have to be enforced way more solid for that to work.
Yes, for it to work.
Okay. I saw someone in the chat say this, so I'm going to bring it up. A mulligan, a certain amount of mulligans, but as long as
Bad.
it's called before the disc hits the ground.
Before this hits the ground, that's good.
I
That's
like-
funny.
I
Or
like that twist.
or hits like a tree. Like
Okay,
it has to be
okay,
in flight.
okay.
Like it can't be like whack before it hits the ground. Like call it.
we're talking about not being able to call football
Yeah.
in real time. Did he call it in real time before it hit the tree?
Okay,
yeah.
I
This
think
is
it
like
hit
an
a twig
A+ rule
first.
for you and your buddies. Like same with like if you can catch the
That
disc,
hit the tree.
you can rethrow. It's the
If you
same.
can
Yeah,
It's the
catch
same
the
as
disc
that.
and rethrow. I've done that before. Do you know that?
Yeah, like if
Tree
you're playing a
and
casual round with your buddies and it's like you're not even keeping score, you're just keeping score in your head. Who even cares? Like, yeah, this is a great rule right here.
I am a.
Or maybe once per round because you can have some like, especially if you're playing with OB and it's like floating to OB. I could be like, I
We're
could yell
doing this. We're
mulligan so
recording a
fast.
vlog.
I have a
with this.
personal experience with a throw, an unintentional catch, and then what the hell do I do now? I was playing Devons like back in 2016, and I had to line up this tight hyzer right up against a tree, and like I had to match the angle of the tree with my disc, and I just whacked the tree straight dead on, and I curled up because I knew it was going to hit me,
Got it.
and I caught it under my armpit. And I
Oh
just
my
locked up
goodness.
with my arms like this, and I looked at my card mates.
You're like,
Both of their jaws are dropped, and they're like, Try again. Okay. Just like the noise of the tree, and then just tensing up, and then realizing that there's something under my arm.
I will say
that
this
is
whole 16
hilarious.
at Meadowbrook, I will land in bounds every single time because all I got to do is just yell Mulligan.
Yeah, but
as
you
soon as
only
I-
get-
Mulligan.
You only get 2 per round, and you got to call it before it hits. And so you
Saving
got to
my
choose
twos, roll
when you
16
don't use it,
there.
when you use it, when you don't use it. You're making me laugh. You caught the disc. I heard about, is it Billabo? What's his name? Billabo, MVP.
Justin Billadoo.
Billadoo.
Yeah.
He threw off of 16's tee pad. I don't know if you ever heard this. He was doing
At
a
Maple
warm
Hill?
up. Yeah.
Yeah, and
He was
let it
doing a
fly.
warm up and
Yep,
whoop,
yep.
he threw it straight
Yep.
up.
And they called
Like it didn't go further than like
Yep.
the tee pad. He's like, I didn't mean to do
Yeah.
that.
The most
He
recent.
should have
It
caught
was
it.
2021, I want to
Yeah,
say.
Yeah,
he should have
he's
caught
all
it. Be like,
around.
whoops.
Well, the issue, like in competition, if you catch it, can you be stroked for that?
Yeah.
Like you're altering. Like
Absolutely. If you
if
caught it on
if I'm not a
purpose.
sanctioned tournament, I'm letting that thing fall. I'm not.
Ooh.
So I'm going to get to another rule in a second. But Ben, in his last win at Meadowbrook, we're videoing it live so you can go watch this.
Ben has a win.
His second hole of the playoff, he's up to this like really like straggly branches and everything. It's like all like not dead and detached. It's all there, but it's like dead. It's dead, but it's all attached. And he steps up to his shot, and we're live streaming this, and he's like, "What's this?" He just breaks it, like literally breaks the branch off in front of him, and he's standing there.
man.
He looks at me live on camera, and he's like, "He goes, what do I do?"
And Dave was like, "It's set and detached. Don't worry, don't worry." The course
It's unattached
owner.
now.
It definitely wasn't, but nobody cared. It was so funny because you just look at the camera,
Yeah, I
like,
was
what did I
"Oh my
do?
goodness."
And loses the playoff
Yeah.
because he
Yeah, imagine he was just like, you lose.
Yeah,
You
Dave
just-
literally the course owner was like, it's on the tap. He was
So funny.
vouching for you.
Hilarious. Okay. So here's another one for you. By the way, if you have any, bring them up.
Yeah, I got one,
have
but I'll go after
I
you.
just have one.
This one's probably really dumb, but maybe fun to talk about. They're all dumb. That's why this segment's called that. They might be cool, but they're pretty bad ideas. Distraction tests. You're already laughing. Where you he's already laughing. Where you can like on purpose try to distract a player in a non-courteous way a few times around.
a few times.
That one's actually.
Like you're like whap. right in their backs.
Like
They're just about to rip it. He's like,
for that load, you go, yo mother.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
Hey yo.
and he just has to turn around in good sportsmanship. You got me.
Good one,
You're
guys.
like, got him.
Oh man.
Good one, guys.
I'm
Solid.
not gonna let you have that one.
Solid
I'm
attempt.
gonna call that a dumb.
That's
rule.
a dumb. That's a really
one's
dumb
bad.
rule. But remember, we had Brody on here. He's like, dude, put lotion on your hands. We were laughing about how to make disc golf harder. Anyways, Evan, what do you got?
My idea is essentially the bunker rule, but all OB is stroke and distance, or nope, it's just distance because
Okay.
your only stroke is the fact
Yes.
you threw it.
I love that you just said this.
Let's go.
this sounds like a
the
good
only
one.
stroke is that you threw it. So like let's go GMC or Fox Round hole 18.
Sure.
A lot of out of bounds. If you throw OB your first throw, you bring it right back to the
Yep.
tee. You're throwing 2 though.
Yep.
And it's every single time. I mean, people complain like Memorial. If you have like the Peninsula greens, you just chuck it over the basket, lands OB, but you got to
Tap in
tap
par.
in putt for 3.
Yep.
Nope, you're re-teeing for 2. So you really got to land it there and actually like truly play the hole.
Wow.
I mean, I'll start off with the least. If this was a PDGA rule, absolute nightmare. You're playing a tournament, you're finding, oh, I did slide OB. I'm walking all the way back and playing 2. But I mean, I think it's a good idea for the Pro Tour where we got
Disc Golf
spotters.
Pro Tour needs their own rule book. I'm going to say it right here.
Oh,
It's-
wait.
It's a hard take to say it's coming. Oh, exclusive. I don't think Casey knows anything.
CEO Casey White says,
But no, I think
An
it'd be
exclusive
interesting. I think
content?
there will be a competition manual that the Disc Golf Pro Tour has. And the difference being, I think the rules of disc golf will be rules,
Do you want to know what the first thing I think the Disc Golf Pro Tour should add to the rule book? Extra time.
but that could be a competition manual thing, like at
Yeah, sure.
our competitions.
Sure.
But would that go against Pro Tour? I mean, Professional Disc Golf Association. I don't know.
And that's what I'm saying.
interesting.
Like they need to find
Maybe
a
they
way
have
that
to
they
do their
can
own, yeah.
coexist where the only people that are affected by this distance no stroke rule is the people on the disc golf pro tour events only, even if it's a disc golf pro tour event and like there's a
Who does it
Masters
now?
division.
What major does this kind of stuff now? USDGC.
Well, of course.
So my point is, I think you're right. Is
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say. Like the disc golf pro tour could do this.
Yep.
They just
Yep.
need to either get waivers or have it pre-planned and say. This
Do you
is
know
we're
what happens if you miss the Mando on hole 18 at Lake Eureka? If
At
you even know
Lake
where the
Eureka,
Mando is,
hole
it's the
18.
first tree on the right.
doing? Okay.
You re-tee throwing 2. I am the only person I know to have missed that Mando twice in the same World Championship. And I re-teed throwing 2 and saved par.
Where's the Mando on hole 18?
It's not
I
even
just
in
finally
play.
just
You don't even want to know.
visualized it.
You don't even want to know. So you're standing on the tee pad.
It's
The
like the
water's
lake?
on the left. It's
Yeah.
a little hill, and there's a branch coming over. The tree is probably
Near
2
the water?
o'clock. 2 o'clock
Oh,
on the
not
right.
near the water.
I was a not very good professional who wanted to. I knew the shot was roller. However, I had absolutely no roller in my
Yeah.
game, and I didn't realize that like a roller, when you put it on the angle, it still has to fly to the right before it gets to the ground. And I didn't do that math not only once but twice, and I missed the Mando. But I already knew because I missed it the first time that I'm like, no, guys, I just throwing 2 and I saved par. And it's like, yeah, I threw a terrible shot, but like I would, if it wasn't for that Mando, I'd be way up on the fairway. So just make me do it again. Like, yes, I threw that disc. I'm not going to try and hide it, but I can try again and just give me that first stroke and I'll throw 2. And I think that there are a lot of holes that need to be implemented with that rule. And I actually have one at the course of my house. I have a hole where you throw up the driveway. It's a big uphill, but then it's on the fairways on the right, sloping left all the way to the driveway. And there's a Mando with a telephone pole. And the rule is if you don't cross inbounds past the telephone pole, it's re-tee throwing 2. If you do cross, it's a death putt, drop zone putt for 3 with the penalty. So if
That's
saying
confusing. I'm going to say it now,
yeah, yeah, it
We'll
is.
listen to this back.
but it's
I-
also
I
your
get it.
backyard.
But it's,
so I'm
the
not
point
judging.
is that you're bringing up the distance or the distance penalty, no stroke, and I already have implemented it in the course that I've designed.
That's cool. And
Yeah.
this is
I mean, I love that part, and the fact that like Ledgestone has it like that. I
Yep.
did not know.
Yep.
So that's really cool. It already exists
Well,
in some capacity.
and I keep
if
saying
you
it's
throw
cool.
the worst shank of all time, it comes into play.
So I keep saying, oh, that's cool, but that's the point of the segment. It sounds cool, but it's probably a bad idea.
Well, yeah. Does
It
anyone
could be
not
good.
like it?
I don't know. It's
I
just
love it.
hard to implement it.
I think it's way. I think with proper spotters, it would be way more beneficial than to just throw a basket on top of a little mound with 3 bunkers surrounding it, and you're either putting for birdie or you're putting for par.
Someone made a good point here, though. They're like, how would it work if you wanted to retake your shot from a previous lie, though, which is a stroke penalty? And I was like, well, you get penalized if you choose to take it. But in Evan's scenario, if you just
That's
want to
funny.
take it again, just throw it OB.
Like, but who does that on a pro tour? Like I've done it once.
Like retake
for
your
fun.
throw?
Yeah, Devin's hole
It's
one
rare.
missed the putt and rolled all
It's
the way
rare.
down like to like 150 feet.
Yep, a reputt.
But where was it? The weird thing about disc golf, which is also weird in the NFL, is when you have punts in the NFL and it goes out of bounds. And you got some random guy who's just like, yeah, I think that crossed at the 42-yard line. And he's sitting on the 26-yard line and the ball landed in the end zone, but out of play. And it's just like to find that point where it crossed out of bounds and what yard marker it was is so hard in football where a punt is mostly straight. You come into disc golf where we throw all different angles in all different ways. Like there's no way to be correct, but how many times are you just like, okay, I landed here, kind of a slight angle. So I'm going to just kind of wing it and I'm going to drop here. Like we're already guessing so much.
You can learn so much from watching disc golf down fairway rather than behind the tee pad. Like I know
absolutely.
so many players who throw their disc, it's going straight, and then it hyzers out of bounds and lands over the line. And then you just step up. They basically take a 45-degree angle and say, this looked good, right? And it's like, yeah, everybody's like, yeah, look it. It's a linear like path of the way we saw it shaping the line.
Yeah.
But what they don't realize is that that disc was already completely stopped going forward. And in fact, it went over the line and then rolled backwards. You know what I mean? Because it skips up and then does a little curl, and it actually... They are actually losing 20 feet of distance because they didn't actually pay attention to the way it landed. But you know,
It's a good point.
And
I'm with you there.
the weird thing is that like I'm always the type of guy to like tell a person like, whoa, you did not go out of bounds there. You can go way up there, man. Like, I mean, it's just that like sometimes the guy that just threw out of bounds isn't looking to talk to anybody, and he just like throw their mini on the ground and then just freaking chuck it before anybody can even like pick up their bags from the previous lie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are all fantastic points. And Ben, you said you had a
I have
rule.
one.
Is it a good one? A cool one?
It's a good one.
Yeah.
So putting has to do with putting. You're in circle one.
Of course it does.
Goodness.
You're in circle one.
3 misses and you count it.
No. All right. You're in circle one. There's a circle, obviously. If you miss your putt and it lands back into circle 2, counts as a hazard.
What?
Yep. That means that you have to be more cautious.
That means you re-putt. That means you re-putt.
You could
every time.
re-putt.
You're right.
You just have to be more
you
cautious.
would re-putt.
I'm just
You would
saying,
re-putt.
This
You
is the
could
dumbest
re-putt,
rule in the
but-
world.
No,
I'm
you
saying-
would because you're in circle 1 with a penalty, or you could be in the hazard with a
Okay,
penalty.
but it just makes them more cautious with their putts. That's my whole thing. It makes putting way harder.
Bro.
Well, the weird thing
Okay,
about disc golf.
this was
which-
dumb rules. That's what
I'm
I'm,
not trying to
saying.
compare to
Like
golf.
you guys are
This
acting
is-
like this was like a genius idea of me. This is a dumb rule. I thought
We're
that would be funny.
Well, I want to talk about this. Disc golf, like
We're, like,
putting is so much
harassing you
easier
so
than
much. That
ball
sucks.
golf. But I despise so much how we're like missing a putt is so much more like deathly in disc golf than it is ball golf. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a big ball golf guy. I've not
Depending on
really
cup
three-putted in that,
placement.
but I've three-putted in disc golf.
Yes.
But like, it's just so weird. It's weird how it's up in the air, and so if you miss it, you're going way long. And when we have
And you get a hazard stroke.
hard greens as they should be, but hard greens where they're on a slope and you can go flying past, like, yeah, that really stinks. Or when you hit gauge and barely miss by 2 inches, that means it falls on its side and then rolls down the hill 100 feet. You're like, that seems wrong.
All right, here's my new rule.
Oh, come on.
Here's my new rule. You are in second circle 2, and if you land in circle 2 again, then if you don't land in circle 1,
That's
then it's a
Ben rule if
hazard.
I've ever heard one.
and then it's a hazard, and it makes you more cautious of your putt.
Okay.
The intern's coming up with horrible ideas.
I know a better rule than that, and a better rule would
Let's
be
go.
allowing anybody to play it where it lies. Like if I
Explain
want
a
to
little
put my
bit.
foot in that pond and throw from behind it, I'm
Oh.
gonna do it. And
You're
not take
saying-
the stroke. Like if I hit the wall on hole 8 at Maple Hill and fall in the water, and I want to pull up my pants and putt from the water,
yeah.
I'm gonna putt from the water.
Any
That'd make it
lie, the
interesting.
middle
I
of
mean,
the
like,
pond, if you can see it, and
I'm
they
way
can get down to
more
it.
for that than what he just said. He just wants bad luck to punish you more.
Well,
Or
yeah, and
bad
with Ben's
putts.
thing, I want
bad putts.
players to be less cautious when they're putting. I want to see
Yes,
more big
exactly,
putts.
exactly.
I want you to run
That's why I think the
everything
smaller
from
targets
easy
is
Guys,
a terrible idea.
this is the segment is dumb rules in case you
No, the
recall.
segment was cool, but probably bad.
Mine was
ideas.
cool.
It's definitely bad. Idea.
Nope.
Okay. All right. I've got a
Thanks,
crazy
Thanks,
one.
Ben. Though.
Okay, he's
We
got
gotta
one
rip
for
on
us.
someone.
We could go on for a while.
Because
So what do you
somebody
got?
just brought up
How
the-
natural you are as a podcast host. See
No.
that?
Oh, I do see
Casey
that.
is a
Bro, they
natural.
love you. We need
Needs
Casey
to be on the
every
podcast
week.
more often.
So somebody said, wasn't there going to be a 2-hole playoff? And they're correct. They got it wrong. It wasn't the Tour Championship. It was the MVP Open.
Yeah.
When Natalie
It was
Ryan and
supposed to be.
Kristen Tatar tied, they were going to do a hole 1, hole 18 combined score.
And you know why it
playoff.
didn't happen?
Because it's not allowed to happen in the Disc Golf Pro Tour or Elite Series, I'm pretty sure.
Because, and I don't think this was something Steve doesn't want me to talk about. Steve, if it is, I apologize. We'll be more clear in
We're
the
already talking
future.
about it.
But Steve said he had put in a waiver for it
Yes.
and something to do with like they weren't meeting because it was during the holidays or something related to that where like the PDGA wasn't meeting in time.
Uh-huh.
He's like, can I get it? Da, 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 da. Right up to the event. He's like, what are we doing? And they're like, sorry, like, no, it's not going to happen. But like he was putting in for it to happen. It needs to be a waiver approved.
So what do you think
And it didn't get approved.
if the tournament ends and you're tied with your competitor and you say, I want to play my playoff
Not it. No.
sudden death, and they say, I want to play the playoff combined 2 holes, and then you
Flip
a
a
coin.
disc or something. Yeah. Wow.
Or starting hole.
Yeah, starting hole is also what I was
bro.
thinking of.
Yeah.
You can choose which
because
hole
the
you
women
start
started
on.
their playoff at MVP Open. They started on hole 18, and all playoffs prior to that have started on hole 1.
Yeah. I
Cool
didn't like
idea.
it.
It's probably bad,
Including
but
USDGC
exciting.
playoffs, including USDGC spot playoffs.
How cool is that idea?
Mike Carmen and Raven Newsom did a hole 1 and hole 18 combined score USDGC spot playoff in 2020 at Maple Hill.
Wow.
Mike Carmen won. And then
because they chose to do that?
No, because that's just
Okay,
what
that was the
Steve
rules.
told them to do. It's what Steve tried to tell Natalie and
Oh.
Kristen to do, but the USDGC playoff is a little different. But I would like to add, Mike Carmen ended up taking it down, getting the USDGC spot, and then didn't go to the USDGC, and then Raven didn't get in on Monday qualifying. And the first thing I said to Mike when I saw him, I'm like, you owe Raven Newsom an apology. Like, you should have never been in that playoff if you weren't going to go, bro.
Wow. Insider.
tough.
We've covered it since then. We're all good friends now.
Good. So that, just a little hashing on that idea. Like, I think Evan kind of elaborated and you were like, yeah. I think like what happens, Kristen Tatar, Natalie Ryan, MVP, hole 18 or whatever, they go, Tatar goes, okay, like, I think she doesn't play this hole very good. So like, we're going to go over to hole, whatever it was. Right. I think Natalie in that round made a mistake on 14. Would she correct it or not? Like, you could play strategy in your head. You're like, they played it so perfect the first round. There's no way they do it again. But like, it would turn into
competitors pick their starting hole and then flip a coin.
No, they play both of those holes.
Combined.
Yeah.
Sorry, so we're playing hole 11 and then we're playing hole 2.
Yeah. That's why it's a bad idea, but it's a cool idea.
You guys remember McBeth talking about the world championship and him trying to throw Gossage's line and how he was like almost like, I'm gonna call it playing defense. You're trying to do something to like affect the other team's offense. Like, this would be exactly that. And actually, I would find it really cool. I mean, of course, logistically it'd be a nightmare. You're telling me
idea.
You want to play Maple Hill hole 4 and hole 12? Like, okay, that sounds like
that sounds
fun.
like a playoff that I win.
I'm not picking that for you.
Strategy.
I'm going to hole.
Like, it would be really interesting.
Hole
I mean, and quick, like so many disc golfers are just like, I'm being in the moment. I'm listening to music. I'm playing my game, and this is it.
Strategy.
But like,
player
how
versus
cool would it
player.
be if Kristen's like really analyzing Natalie's round and be like, okay, like, yeah, she got 2 bogeys here. I'm gonna pick one of those 2.
Yep.
And Natalie's doing the same thing and figuring out where those weaknesses are. That'd be really
and then
interesting.
you step up to the hole that you picked for them, like in your mind, you're like, they're not going to play well, and you cram a tree like right off the tee pad. You're like, oh,
That'd
bad
be
choice.
amazing. Like, that's so
But
cool.
commentary would be like, this is the hole that Kristen picked for Natalie Ryan. So you know what I mean? It'd be exciting.
It'd be exciting.
It would be dramatic.
And you just play to par. Like if Kristen got a birdie on the hole chosen by Natalie and Natalie got a par on the hole chosen by Kristen just straight up wins, even though they played a different
it
hole.
would be awesome.
We
got to try
I'm
this.
pretty sure I'm not a big esports guy, but I'm pretty sure that like when they play like pretty much like shooter like first person shooter games, they have each team picks like what arena they want to play, what map. And I think there's like a third or like other ones are chosen by the organization. And it's really interesting. You're picking one of your strengths. So I mean to that, I mean there's so many disc golf analogies come up. Picking a couple courses to be your round.
Like, Casey, where do you want to play the world championships? Oh, Smuggler's Notch? Oh yeah, sounds good.
You gotta pick courses now too.
But then you're doing like a 1v1 versus Kyle Klein. Kyle's like, oh, let me do Idlewild or Toboggan or something. And like, I don't know which one you play worse at, but he would be thinking of that.
You're like,
I play worse at both. Worse than him. That's the only thing that matters.
You're like, guys, this is, I'll end this one on it, but you're like, okay, our playoff is not at Maple Hill hole 4. We're actually saving this till we get to Smugs hole 2. You can pick the whole tour before you decide your win.
Or you just play checkers to see.
Oh, like when Ricky and Calvin co-won Ledgestone. They're like, all right, this round at Idlewild practice rounds to decide who wins and keeps the trophy.
So stupid, but yes. Okay, a few more. We're getting close to wrapping up.
I actually did think of another one, but you're going to have to give me a second to rethink of it.
Okay, you can think about it. Mandatory throwing style.
Nope.
Well, it's a cool idea, but it's probably bad.
Sorry. No.
So, like, for instance, like hole 4 at Maple Hill, like they could be like, you have to throw overhands.
Throwing style is the wrong word.
Okay.
It's spin. Mandatory counterclockwise spin. Mandatory counterclockwise spin.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you go mandatory clockwise spin, that means righties have to throw backhand, lefties have to throw whatever, sidearm. And then the opposite. So like if it's a hole that's just a hyzer bomb and it's just a Mando
You've
pull
thought
in the middle
about
of the
this.
Oh yeah, I've actually I think I talked about it with Scott Stokely actually. So if it's just
the interesting here would be like thumbers to tomahawks is because like a tomahawk is a counterclockwise spin and a thumber is clockwise.
So it would all apply. So, it would have to apply.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
Yeah, it would
and
be
of course
cool.
It's counterclockwise from the top of the disc. Think of it if you throw it upside down.
Think of it this way: it's just a hole in the middle of nothing. There's maybe one tree, and you can clearly see the basket on the other side of the tree, but the Mando is making you go to the right of it. For all righties, it'd be the easiest thing ever. But guess what? For righties, it's too easy. So now we are forced to throw sidearm around the pole. I'm not just saying it because it would benefit me, which it would, but it's just taking out the simplicity of just like, oh, I can just close my eyes and throw to the moon, and there's no way I'm not going to at least land in circle one. Like throwing a counterclockwise spin angle on a disc that is moving to the left, you have to hit the height and the angle correctly so that when it hits, it doesn't cut roll or it doesn't flex out. It's just it's a completely different challenge.
Eagles throwing lefty backhands now, and Bradley Williams is too.
Bradley I played with Bradley when he was throwing him in tournament. Yeah, I was playing with him at D-Glow.
So someone in the chat said,
steps up and did it.
Yeah, someone in the chat was like, oh, or just throw with your offhand. And I'm like, this is going to start getting harder and harder to determine offhands in the future. But that's funny. I mean, where does it? You could be like, you have to put this blindfold on and throw this shot. Like, you know, you have to, whatever. You have to sit down on your butt and like throw. Like, it turns crazy. But you've obviously thought about it. There's a reason you said not throwing style. So, like, you could just simply be like, this hole is an overhand throw. Like, it has to be overhand. It's cool only because it would force a different look on a hole than maybe make it harder.
Yeah, of course.
But it's a bad idea because right now, I don't know. It takes away a lot of advantage for certain people.
So that my idea is strictly to try and take those righty hyzer holes and eliminate the righty advantage.
Okay. Then that's why I was wondering why you made it about spin, which makes sense.
Because I hate how many holes I can step up to on the tour and just throw my eyes closed because it's a 400-foot hyzer and there's barely any out of bounds. And it's like, you want to know what's really hard? Throwing a putter 200 feet without turning. Like, that is hard. That is a shot that truly daunts me. Like, if we just have like literally just a putter shot.
What do you throw for that? Straight putter?
Depends on like angle or if I'm going backhand or sidearm, but like backhand. P3X.
Which on that topic though, Brian Earhart, when he was doing an AMA, someone asked him if Paul McBeth was a lefty and threw left-handed, let's say for all shots, either forehand or backhand, would he have 6 world titles? And Brian, said a lot of things, but then eventually just was like, no, I don't think so.
There's not a chance.
Like, it just because of course design, not because Paul would be limited being left-handed. Like, it would be the same scenario. He's as good as he is, just he happens to throw lefty.
Yep.
He didn't say he's going to win 0 world titles. He just said, no, he won't win 6. It could be 5. It could be 4.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, pretty valid.
Did you come up with that other idea, or was that it?
That was it. The counterclockwise spin, I think.
Wow. We're on the same page. You got any more bad ideas, intern Ben?
No, that was the one I thought
cool ones that are bad.
No, I just thought about that island one.
Okay, I'll say one thing. This is something that's just like whatever. I think on top of the basket should count. Ooh. It's harder to land a disc on top of the basket than it is to land in the basket.
I've gone through on a bad basket.
Yeah,
like through
Tully or Barry, you can do it. The old disc catchers, and that counts now.
I think just because wedging it counts on top of the basket.
Top of the basket
fully
should count.
Supported by it, right?
Well, I was teaching.
I don't think either should count myself. But
yes,
if wedging
I agree.
does count,
I agree.
Then I think on top counts.
So I started this whole show off saying I taught disc golf recently, right, to a group who didn't know about it. And I'm up there and I ran into like a foot in my mouth. And I'm like, pretty much, guys, anyway the disc comes to like catch the disc, or the basket comes to catch the disc, as long as it's resting supported by the basket, yada, yada. I'm like hanging them off the nubs. I'm like in the balance, and I'm like, except you can't do it on top of the basket. Like, everything counts, hanging it off the edge. Like, and then I'm like, but no. And I'm like, I don't know why. Don't pay attention to that.
I've thrown like crazy scramble shots out of the fairway or out of the woods that just hits the freaking flag, and it literally just sticks there.
And it's amazing.
And it's like, I could never ever do that. I could throw this in 10 times before I landed on top again.
Yeah, it counted safari knockers if you hit the flag, right?
We
knock the pole right over.
We do have one more rule coming out of me.
All right.
It's a little bit dumb. But it is that.
It's cool, but it's pretty bad idea.
When you go to a playoff, both opponents or both players have to do dizzy bat before they.
Cool idea.
Oh, man, somebody
said it in the chat.
Just spit them around.
That's a Vlogmas for you.
But they didn't say dizzy bat. So. Oh, okay.
Dude, you would biff so hard though. Can you imagine? You know how dizzy you get?
Oh, of
and
course.
then you just
Yeah,
go
yeah,
to
yeah.
rip it.
Yeah.
You would probably get seriously hurt. Like,
Honestly, just do a putting challenge after doing dizzy bat.
Yeah,
I think
maybe that's
good
better.
enough.
No, I want to throw.
you have to have
Fair
like
enough.
2 guys on either
Oh,
side of the
just
tee
do like
pad
a-
and like hold you up.
Do like a small course.
I could just do it at my house.
Yeah, literally like a
And I
putter
know the
course.
holes.
Head
Yeah.
down to the bat.
Yeah,
Like-
do like a 5-time dizzy bat, or maybe like every hole I do 1 spin, and then by hole 9 I'm doing 9 spins.
Oh, you would.
That's sickening.
I think that's a good Vlogmas idea.
I think it
That
would.
might be. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good idea.
Do it
See how
up.
you feel. And you have to eat like a large pizza before you do the round.
And drink a gallon of milk and Sprite and bananas.
Oh, we're getting out of control.
I know this is good though.
All right.
People are gonna love Casey White after this.
oh,
They
man.
already
More,
do.
more. That's what I meant. Not,
I'm just looking at the chat here and the thing we're missing. Top counting would be cool. Was it with a tilt, Casey? Ha ha ha.
No, the tilt goes in down on top.
Okay. Obviously, there's real rules we could talk about some show where we're like, this should be a rule that changes, but that's more like, that's classic Nick and Matt. We debate it. Yes, no, sure. This was
Yeah.
really lighthearted fun. People, I hope you loved
it
it.
was fun.
We didn't even get to one of the topics about the aces. We'll carry that over to another episode. All
Oh, come on.
right, fine.
What about the stats?
I wish I would have known.
We're not going to do our longest episode ever, but we will continue. We'll do this segment. We might as well. So, first of all, we'll go around. Everybody. Ooh, does everybody have an
Unless
ace?
you want
Evan, do you have an
unless
ace?
you want to delay this, and
Yes,
I can
have
just
an
come back
ace.
with my
No, I'm just
first
kidding.
ace.
Not to
disc.
be sassy about it.
Well,
I
you
do
can
have an
come
ace
back
six.
with it
I'm
either
okay.
way.
Okay, cool.
So, if you're down for next week.
Yep.
Yep. So, did you get an ace, Evan?
Yes.
Okay, what's your first ace disc?
My
Holy
first ace was
501.
a Starfire.
All right.
Big summer camp course, probably like 260-foot hole, and there's a like a softball baseball backstop in front of it, but it opens on the left side, so you kind of think of a righty forehand, lefty backhand, get it around the backstop. Like a couple weeks earlier, a month earlier, I hit dead center cage and it spat out. Same disc. I was so bummed. That would have been my first ace. Get it back, hit dead center with that Starfire.
Is that your only ace?
No, I have 2 more at that course. Then I have the hill hole 2.
Okay.
Hey,
the hill
which-
counts.
hole
I
There
feel
we
like
go.
people
Okay.
should
Good
get
job.
that one's,
Star-
that one's my shortest ace. The summer camp has some short
Starfire.
holes.
And that's a distance driver, or is that
Yeah.
fairway?
That's a 10 speed.
It's
Yeah,
borderline.
10 speed.
Older
But you threw
one.
it 250. Okay.
I mean, it's a good
Yeah,
sidearm disc.
Yeah. Kind of just not quite a
Intern
Firebird.
Intern Ben,
but-
I saw your first ace on video.
Yes.
What was that disc?
I haven't hung up, but it was a Ledgestone sparkle buzz or metallic. What are they called?
It
Whatever.
doesn't matter as a buzz.
Yeah.
There's a
And
million different versions.
Metal
Is that
flake
hole
buzz.
about the same as what Evan was just saying, 250-ish? It's uphill.
Hole 6 Tully.
Uphill.
I don't know.
Hole
Yeah,
6
that's a
Tully.
little shorter. That
It's
was
like-
like
yeah,
220.
2 something.
230
Yeah.
uphill.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that
Yeah.
same range. I threw an Avenger. I think it was an SS, and it was like a swirly tie-dye. It was from Marshall Street.
Awesome.
And it was buff. Whole, oh boy, this is going to be tough here.
Old
12.
buff? New buff?
Old. It might have been 13. What's the one going over the pond? It was from the AMT, but it would throw over the pond, like opposite of what hole 17 does now.
Dude, no, I don't know old
Oh,
buff.
you don't?
I'm a new buff.
So I
guy.
threw over the pond, like the little
Me wearing a
pond
shirt.
with the Seuss tree on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
I know the pin placement you're talking about. That was a
It was
sick
in the
shot.
corner of the pond, and I just remember I shouldn't be throwing a fairway or Avenger SS thing,
Not
but I
even
did. It was
close.
like a year or 2 into it, and I was like, whew, and it went in. I can remember my heart stopped, and I'm like, I just did like the best thing in my life. I'm like screaming, and it was just epic. But that disc, I don't have a clue where it is. Like, not a
Oh,
clue.
that's sad.
What was your first disc?
My first ace disc
Yeah.
is a Star Beast.
Beast.
And I met Paul McBeth in June 2015 at Maple Hill Open. And I saw him again about a month later at the second tournament I ever played. He came and did a clinic at the old Highland Orchard course. And while I was there, I actually got to play like 4 holes with Paul at lunch. And it was really cool. I was literally a 15-year-old that didn't even have a PDGA number. I just happened to be the only people that was eager enough to talk to Paul and Hannah while they were just standing there doing nothing. You know what I mean? I was just
Mhm.
putting myself in that position. But I was like, you know what? Might as well. I just got this new beast. Like, sign it up for me, Paul. And I was playing a bad round about a month later on the hill. And I just told my buddy Zach and his dad, I still play with him to this day. I'm like, this ain't going It's the easiest hole in the course, maybe second easiest after the one that Evan aced, but it's 130 feet downhill.
Okay.
And there is a right gap, which is just like the basic. You just literally toss a putter with any sort of power and you're going to get to the basket. Or you can like go turn over or flicker on the left side. Well, I just decided to go tomahawk through the trees, like a little V tree.
Let's go.
Splits the trees. And I'm like, oh, hey, I made the tree gap. Boom, right in the dead center chains. And I just remember going absolutely bonkers, like screaming and yelling, hollering, because I was convinced I was just like never going to ace because I was just like, oh, everybody else I know has aces, blah, blah, blah. And then, it freaking hit my first ace and I still got the disc to this day.
How many aces do you think you have, or do you know you have?
I just hit my 30th ace yesterday.
Well,
30.
where?
At Sasquatch Pines. It's going to be in my Vlogmas day 10.
Exclusive? No. How many aces for you? 1, 2,
I have
4?
2 like
Real shot.
Yeah, 2 normal ones and then like 5 black aces.
Oh, black aces. I thought you were going to say like
Black?
funsy aces.
Those are like not even aces, but you're right. You
That's
threw them in
impressive,
ace.
honestly.
I think I have 1 funsy. I have 2 real, 1 funsy, and a bunch of black ones.
Black ace or gray ace?
Yeah.
Different hole or different
know that-
layout, same hole?
I just did Meadowbrook hole 14, you know, the long one.
Yeah.
So I was so upset. It's on my Instagram right now. If you guys want to go look at it. I threw it. I was upset. I was like, oh my goodness.
That's
it's
a gray
so
ace.
bad. And I pinned it into red.
That's gray.
That's a gray ace. Same hole.
I didn't know that.
Black
it was
ace
called
would
layout.
be
gray
turning
ace.
around and acing 15s. back.
Okay. So I have 1 gray ace and you know hole 4 to hole 4 reds. Hole 4 reds.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I have 2 black aces going into the gold basket. I don't know how, but
Gray aces.
no, black. Because
Black is different hole.
Different hole.
Not different
it is
layout.
up to the goal basket. That's a different pin position.
No,
That's a
different pin
different
position is a
layout.
gray ace.
Gray ace. Different hole.
Like-
so it'd
like
be
different
you
holes,
aced
not
interesting
different
about
hole.
what Ben's
If you
saying
would've
is
aced
there's
hole
no
5
layout
from hole
that goes
4
from that
tee
tee pad to that basket though.
That's what I'm saying. There's no tee pad that goes to from my tee pad
It's
position.
That's
unique.
getting
It is
technical, though.
unique.
It's
They
hole four
cross.
either
They
way.
That's
do
what
cross.
I thought it meant. Because technically, if I was aiming
Yes.
for the red basket, that counts as an ace.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
because
I get the difference. And maybe
Yeah,
when
yeah.
the courses
I know what you
cross
mean.
or
I know what
whatever,
you mean.
same hole,
Yeah.
different. Okay.
I
That's
consider-
what
I
you
It's like
consider-
what's
what do we call that
gray and
one?
black?
The reason that
brown
I
ace.
have no
Charcoal
black
ace?
aces is because at a course like Devon's, it's literally impossible because like there's no way to
Yeah.
get to another fairway. Like they're all so, secluded in so many
so
trees.
people have actually done that to
Yes.
another fairway.
Yes,
I didn't
yeah.
know that was a
You can
thing.
do it
I
at
think-
pyramids.
I'm
It's
trying to
actually very
remember. I've
possible at
actually seen it.
pyramids.
I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to remember where.
I feel
well.
like I've almost had that happen before, and I'm trying to figure out where. Like I know I didn't hit.
I feel
one.
like in 15
But, like,
years
I
I remember
almost
it.
did.
But so
Like, I know what it was. General hole 10.
Oh, as I talk about,
I-
Devon's can't do it. You aced hole 8.
I hit band on what is it
14?
hole 7, 8?
8. It would have been
If you
8.
go like
Worst
straight through
shot
the
ever.
woods.
I've aced that hole real though, not from 10.
Yeah, that hole's like, it's pretty aceable. It's a good hole.
Yeah.
Short. From hole 10 though, I hit
That is
band.
ridiculous.
I just went dead straight.
Yeah, that's
and
not good.
There's
And right.
too many trees, so there's no way that's even possible. But
Imagine
it did
it went in.
happen.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
I remembered
Okay.
it. Let's go.
So I actually have a
Hit
full
band, though.
spreadsheet of all
So-
my aces.
okay. so you-
Distinctively heard it.
interesting.
Knew it hit band.
So he said 30. Ben said like 2
2.
real.
Oh, I've
Evan,
ace red 17 too. I forgot about that.
how many do you got?
I
Easy
got
to
4.
forget.
4?
It's true.
Yes.
Okay.
4 real ones like playing
Yes.
around.
I have 8.
Nice.
And I remember that because my 8th was on a hole 8. And I was like, just file that away. Just file that
Nice.
away.
And these are all first
That's
shots,
such a good one to
right?
get.
These are all
Yes.
first shots.
Okay.
Well, it's 15 years. I hope I have 8.
No, I was talking about Evans
Oh,
too.
oh, oh,
I,
oh.
I
There's
just
gonna
didn't
be
know
people
what
who've
we're
been playing.
classifying.
Yeah, all mine are first shot.
Yeah.
Through 15 years though, there's gonna be people who still don't have any.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
same
My
with
brother,
8,
for instance.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay. The reason I ask about that, and we just talked about a whole bunch of awesome things leading up that I didn't have in here to talk about, black ace, gray ace, the whole thing. Generally speaking, it's going to be hard. I'll let you elaborate on this, but are aces coming from good throws?
That depends because every single time I step up to a hole of disc golf that I'm not preparing for a tournament, I'm trying to throw it in the basket.
Mm-hmm.
So the
But what
last
happens
couple
if you
aces,
miss it?
Doesn't matter. I'm trying on the next hole.
Yeah, but is it a good throw if you miss? I guess what I'm saying is like, is it going to end good?
No,
Okay,
ever.
okay.
Because you're gonna skid.
Because I'm only trying to ace. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
So throwing aces aren't good
unless
then.
I am preparing for a tournament, every single shot that I throw, I am trying to put it in the basket in one shot.
Understood, but all I'm trying to say is then it's only a good throw if it goes in.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna jump in. It depends on the hole. Because like
Fair
hole
enough.
8 at Maple Hill, you said you aced that one. If you ace it, I'm like, yeah, that's a good shot
Yeah.
because you kind
Backstop.
of want to land chain high and nail into the ground. The one that Casey was saying at the general 7 or 8 or I forget what number it
8,
is. Like
yep,
that
it's
was
got a
also
little
another one
backstop.
where the ground is a little bit of a backstop. If you miss the chains, you're gonna still have a circle one.
I'm gonna say this. It
there's
depends
holes,
if you
though-
call it or not. Like-
Absolutely.
Like
I call aces.
like yeah, I mean like
because
hole
then
8
I
at
know
Maple
you're
Hill,
trying.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it goes in and you said you were gonna do
You
it,
should watch my Vlogmas day 10 when it comes out and tell me if it was a good shot or not.
okay.
Day 10. Wow.
But like, and this is all right, Simon. Sometimes you listen. I'm not holding you to it if you didn't listen to this one. Like, is Simon throwing in his shots, whether they're 5th shots or 10th shots or 100th shots? Would we call it a good throw when he gets them in a significant ace hole? I'm gonna argue reverse of what I was saying and say yes. Like, if it
Yeah.
takes you 100 shots, but you're trying to throw it in
Yeah, of course.
and you do it,
Yeah, of course.
that's a good shot.
Yeah.
But what about a tournament play?
You're talking like Garrett Gerthy's albatross ace.
Yes, that's a
Like-
good
like-
one because if he missed chains on that, that's
I will
going
not let anybody
OB1.
say that was a bad shot. Like, yes, it was a bad shot, but guess what? That's what he's fucking aiming for.
Right. But I'm just stuck on this idea of like, you see people not trying to ace and they somehow are getting lucky and it skips and it goes in and they're like, oh my God. You know, like, you're like, that's amazing and that's a great result and you did it.
Well-
but like, was it, and I argue both sides of it.
Yeah.
It was a good shot
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
actually did it.
Yeah.
But like,
We-
if it didn't go in, it's a bad shot. Like,
I guess I've aced both ways, so.
oh, I've definitely aced with a bad shot. Like I bounced off
No,
a
I'm
tree
just
and
saying,
in once.
like I've aced where I'm just like, blah, blah, blah. You know, this is just another hole of disc golf in my disc golf career. And then it goes in. But I've also
Yes.
aced saying, I'm going to freaking ace this thing. And I'll take the card. I'm like, you guys ready for a skip ace? Skip ace. Boom.
So
Like
how
that.
many do you feel like maybe were like you were legit like, you know, I'm kind of going for it. I
Probably
did it.
my last 20.
Really?
I would say my
Okay.
first 10 were probably mostly luck.
Mostly like okay.
Yeah.
I'm only in my first 8, but I would say one of them was legit, and it was at Newton Hill. Whether you like it or you hate it, hole 18.
Okay.
It was a league, and I stepped up and I was down like 2 to somebody. I was like, I need to ace this, and you need to par.
Mhm.
And I threw it right in. I'm like,
That's
let's
impressive.
go. Yeah, I was like, I just did
Scenario-wise,
it, and he
that's
gets the
incredibly-
par. We went to a playoff, and I won, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Wow.
Let's go, man. That's
so
sick.
one time out of 8, I have where I kind of called it. Like I say, I said what I had to do. I didn't quite say I am acing
Yep.
it. That would be next level. I was like, I have to ace it, and I did it. But
Here's what I think though is like we're playing this game of golf where you're trying to be perfect and you never can be perfect. Even Paul McBeth's 18 down, he wasn't perfect because he got a par. That's the whole goal, and you're not going to achieve it. With aces, like or with a shot, like let's say an easy hole. I mean, even like Hill hole 2, it's
Yep.
a really short hole. It's like 112 feet.
Yep.
I'm trying to get as close to it as possible, and kind of also trying to throw it in because that's a good
Every
shot
time
on that.
you
type
can
of
ace
hole.
run it for free.
I'm not that great. Like if I get in the circle, I'm like, cool. Even on that hole, as easy it is, if I'm in circle, I'm like, okay, cool. I succeeded. So getting an ace is like, yeah, I succeeded for what I'm going for.
Mhm.
I got it within the circle. Like, yeah, if you're talking about the best pure shot you could do, it's probably one that slides right up and lands touching the
yes,
pole on the ground. That's the most perfect shot.
So
But
boring.
this is golf where you're just trying to be as close to perfect and trying to do as good as you can each time. And a lot of times, depending on the hole, an ace can be a good shot.
Mhm.
It's not maybe the most perfect. Like if you were a robot and you're programming this what to do, I guess you would want to ace it at that point, but let's not get there. If you're trying to program what to do, you're going to have it slide up and tap it in. Just like Climo says, the most perfect shot's one that slides up to 10 feet before the basket. Like, yes, that's true. Still a good shot, depending on the hole. If it's like a death run and you hit chains, you were going 100 feet long. If you missed, like it depends on the hole.
throwing it in from tee pad or whatever your designated area is where you're saying that's your first shot, throwing it in from a location to basket in one shot is an incredible feat if you're trying to do it. There's no doubt about it. So really the question is like, did you try to ace it or did you not? The result can be good either way, but if you didn't try to and you're just like, hey, I'm just putting it out there,
I tried to get close, and I did get close by making it in.
I was just going to say, some might say, well, and I see this in the chat. I don't remember who said this, but like, if it's close enough to ace, it's a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's true maybe 50% of the time, though, because like, I know people say put it up there so it at least has a chance. I get that concept too, but most of the time, if you're missing on an ace run, it's really not like a good shot. Like you wouldn't tell somebody, hey, throw this full speed as hard as you can on this hole, like trying to ace it. Like
an example for you is like hole 4 Maple Hill Red.
Yeah.
Like,
well, gold actually would be a great example.
Okay, same thing basically.
Okay.
Like it's downhill. For it to chain, it has to be beelining it. If it misses, it's going OB.
Yep.
In the water.
Yeah.
Take your poison. You want an ace or do you want to be a bitch?
We've seen Kale skip ace in there. That's the safe.
Ricky hit the camera guy and stay in bounds too.
Yeah.
The monopod.
Yeah.
Oops.
That was
Is a skip ace? Well, not to get
Skip
way out
ace,
here.
skip
but like
ace
a skip
when
ace there.
called is the greatest thing you could ever do.
Yeah. But on that hole, is it a safe ace bid? Now we're talking
of course, absolutely.
That's the safe
I try
way.
and do it every time.
Kind of flare it, maybe.
I try and do it every time.
What's
Just
your
that
best
little one-hop.
ace?
See, that's actually
got a
really
spreadsheet.
tough because I do have a spreadsheet.
You got to rate them.
I would
Vlogmas
rate
day 16. Let's
I would
go.
rate one of my most recent ones. So I just hit my 30th. This would be my 28th ace. Marky Chap and I were in Oregon, and we were playing Whistler's Bend, which is one of my favorite courses in Oregon. And we got invited by my buddy Raymond, who I played Junior Worlds with. Haven't seen him in 5 years. He's like, hey, I'm in the area. Like, he lives in the area. And my buddy and I have a private course at his house. You guys should come over.
Right.
Whatever. His dad's willing to put down $300 that you guys can beat us. So we're going to go basically play a low entry, high reward challenge doubles match. We're going through the course. We're obviously playing it blind for the first time, but it's a battle. We're tied basically the whole time. Hole 16, we missed a putt that we could have taken the lead, and we were like, dang it, but we were 2 strokes off of perfect at that point.
Yeah.
So whatever, we were 14 through 16, and I literally just told Marky, I'm like, I'm just going to throw this thing right at the basket. It's just straight uphill, so no fear, 300 feet, basket right there, and I literally just threw my night strike on a hyzer. It flipped up to flat, never left the chains, and just blew the whole thing up. And like, the fact that I literally was like, I'm going to do this, I was going nuts and I was freaking flexing on him. And I turned around to like the 6 or 7 people I was playing with, and they were all just like, oh my God, oh my God.
What the?
And just that alone, it wasn't my farthest ace or my most impressive shot, but it was the circumstances.
Yeah, circumstance.
We won,
Circumstance.
and then they ended up missing their birdie putt, and then we ended up winning the match because of it. And then I almost aced hole 18 to finish, which would have been crazy. But it's like the thing that I'm trying to say is like, the ace doesn't really matter to me of the hole or the type of shot thrown, because the matter is that you threw it from the tee pad to the basket, and it's the context. I have another really good one though.
To that point, that's why I feel like that league ace that I did was good.
Yep.
But and I'll let you go off on this. In my head, I would say, well, now I'm not disagreeing fully, but like, so that was Newton. You know these holes. I'm sorry to the listeners, you don't know these holes. But so I'll just kind of talk generically. But hole 7 at hole 7 at Pyramids. So you go uphill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about? You throw up that significant hill. The shorter basket.
Yep.
So it used to be silver back in the day. I think it's
now
white now. I was probably in my 2nd year, 3rd year, and I just ripped a Star Katana up there, Proto Star Katana, just dead nuts right in the chains. To me, I feel like that was my hardest ace. Like, I feel like that was my most achieved ace for me. So it's hard because I'm like, the moment though is cooler with the other, but it's an easier ace.
Yep.
So I don't know.
So that's why I like the context, because this is, like I was just saying, like, it's still the grand scheme of it is that all of it is still tee pad to basket. It doesn't matter how you did it. And I have back-to-back, whatever. I had a story from Colorado.
Yeah.
We were playing a game of 3-2-1, which is like, you usually putt and it's like 3 if you make it, 2 for chains, 1 for top or cage. But we were playing where every point was $1. So
Nice.
if I step up on the tee and I hit the cage, every person there now owes me $1 until they hit the cage themselves. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we're playing with 6 or 7 people. So that's, everybody owes everybody whatever they don't get in points.
Mm-hmm.
First guy steps up. We throw 2 shots per hole. And this is at like an elementary school where they literally teach kids how to play disc golf. Super short holes. The hole one's probably 100 feet.
Shrewsbury?
No, Colorado.
Oh,
And I literally, the first guy steps up, throws one, not bad. Second one, he aces. And it's like, all right, off to a great start. You know, that's cool. I step up to my first shot. I got 2 tactics. First one, ace. Second one, ace. And I just turned around and I looked at 6 guys that looked at me with a look on their face like I'm about to lose a lot of fucking money. It was classic. And it was only a 100-foot hole, but it was such a special moment that it's like, I'm here to ace and I'm going to do it right now.
Right.
Twice.
Right.
yeah.
So
Twice or it's luck, right?
you don't count that 600-foot ace.
I don't count it to my ace count. It was not first shot.
Okay, not first shot. So I have a not first shot story. It's in my backyard, actually. So I have I technically have full 18 holes, but it's like tee pads to baskets. I have 7 different baskets out there. There's a hole that's probably in the range of just shy of 200 feet. And I step up and I throw a putter off the tee pad and I hit it. And I walk, that's the only disc I had in my hand. I walk down and I pick it up. I walk back up to the tee pad and I threw it in again. And I'm like, dang, twice or it's luck, right? Twice or it's luck. I'm like, but what do you do for a third? So I walk back up. It didn't happen.
Okay.
But had it happened, that would be somewhere in the most impressive things I've done in disc golf. But anyways, so you don't
I think
count
twice
the
or it's
600
luck is pretty impressive.
Yeah, of course. And that's what I was just talking about, basically.
100-foot hole or otherwise, doesn't matter. It's impressive.
Yeah.
But that was a backyard.
80-foot putt, like twice in it's impressive.
Yeah. Seriously.
Okay. Well, we've talked longer than
I
usual.
will say
this, Evan. Say it, Evan.
We have to do stat or fiction now because this is a crazy coincidence.
You're saying we have to. Okay.
Okay.
We have
Then
to.
let's do it.
Longest show ever.
I've got nothing
Let's
to do
it.
tomorrow.
We got
Okay.
nothing. We don't got work.
Stat or fiction. I can't believe we got to this point and didn't do it. So let's do it. Pull it up. I don't know if we're going to hear it. But
Oh, yeah.
go ahead, pull it up anyways.
Here.
Go ahead. Do it.
Just don't talk.
Oh, that's funny. He goes, Evan, just don't talk. That's funny. Okay.
I'm
So
so
the
ready.
music, we're letting the music fade out. That's weird. We got to look at our channel mix up there. But okay,
So-
Evan, take it away.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is a funny coincidence. Casey, you know how stat or fiction goes, right?
I do.
Yeah.
He's a
I
pro.
figured. I just wanted to check just in case. So stat or fiction number 1 is there were 27 aces on tour this year from both divisions, majors, elite, and silver.
Cool.
Oh, that's the stat. 27 is the number. Like we have to say.
Evan,
that's
I
true.
don't like
There
when
were-
you do this when it's like, oh no, it's 26.
Yeah, that's what I was
Like,
about to
No,
ask.
it's not going to be that. It's
It's
either
not
dead
that.
on or way off.
He's trying to be like way on or way off.
Okay.
I'm going to go first. You're going to pull up my stat or fiction icon?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say fiction. Whoever wants to go next, Ben or Casey.
I'm going to say stat. I mean, I feel like that's like way too much in the ballpark, and he's saying it's either right on or
Yeah.
way off.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I was going with stat.
I felt like maybe there was more than that.
That's what I was worried
'cause This
about.
year was
But, like,
crazy.
how many
Yeah, I don't
more?
know.
You know what I
I
mean?
feel like this year
I'll
was
say
pretty
stat,
crazy,
too.
but maybe it's less than that.
I feel like 27 is a pretty solid number.
Yeah, I'm going to regret it. What do you think, Evan? What do you know?
Oh, Ben said stat. I totally
said
missed Ben
stat.
saying it.
Yeah.
This is fiction.
Yeah.
Please tell me it was more, a lot more.
Yeah, it was 55.
Oh
It's
my God.
Did I
double.
say a number? Because in my head, I was thinking 54. That's weird.
Okay,
I didn't say it, but in my head, that's what I was
that's including all aces, not just filmed, I guess. So,
Right,
like,
not
they're
filmed.
definitely probably aces that nobody even heard about.
Yeah. I mean, I could go through all
For sure.
55. But
That's
I'm not
where
gonna
I was
do that.
going with it because I knew because I
Yeah.
was on DGN. We were talking a segment on aces. We're like, this is crazy, like aces all the
Yeah.
time. But those were only filmed ones, and you know there was
Yep.
a lot.
And
more.
I should have thought about that because, like, Ledgestone had like 12 aces in one day.
Darn.
Yeah, I mean, I could. There's 10 in FPO, so there's 45
starting
in
out strong,
MPO.
still gonna lose.
Like there were just like 1 or 2 from most until Ledgestone. There was like 7. Worlds had 6.
Yeah,
I
Worlds
think.
Hold
had a
on,
lot.
breaking news.
USDGC had 6. That also does include that would be 2 from Throw Pink. So like I said, Majors Leader
Gotcha.
Silver.
Okay.
I
Wow.
was
Hold on.
including that, but it was 53.
Yeah,
if
Paige
you don't
Shue
include that.
17.
I told a white lie. I actually have 9 aces
Oh,
because I had an ace last year at Mountainside during a tournament. So I have a tournament ace.
all right. I only have one
Oh,
tournament ace in my
nice.
career.
So that's like some people count that as like the official.
Okay.
So I have.
So then I have one.
Yes.
I don't have a tournament ace.
Yes.
I got it last November.
Matt, I thought you
With a
got it at
Sonic.
the Capital Disc Open.
No, I got it with a Sonic.
Well, it's a
dude.
Graham thing to get a tournament ace with a Sonic.
You're right, dude. And I think I might have said
Tanner's
something.
next.
Hope so. I got to give him a Sonic.
Yeah, he's got to
He's
throw
not even
Sonic
throwing
first.
Sonic.
Nah, it wasn't at the Capital Disc. I swear you aced
No.
at Capital Disc. Okay.
I didn't
No,
ace there.
okay.
Not that good.
Okay, I
That was
thought you
the
did
worst
for sure.
tournament
All right,
appearance I've
next,
ever had.
next question.
Next, yeah. Sorry, let's wrap this
All
up.
right. Stat or fiction number 2. Marky Chapalonis
Yes.
has the shortest ace of the year from either division,
Oh.
majors, elite, or silver.
Shortest?
I know
Hold
which
on,
ace he
right?
It's
has.
like 200. It's like 200 feet. What's wrong with
I
that?
know which ace he has.
Yeah.
The whole
I mean, we
one.
don't really play
It was
many
a
holes
silver
shorter than
event,
that.
right?
Yeah, hole 1 at
Yeah.
Music City, and he
Okay.
also aced 15 at Jonesboro.
So the stat or fiction is that the stat?
Is that the shortest hole?
That was aced. He has it. Well, he's saying he
The
has it.
shortest-
Yeah,
So
but I
if you
just
say
need to
yes.
think of, are there shorter holes? Like, is hole 4 at Maple Hill shorter? But I don't know if anybody aced it.
That's the question.
I don't think so.
Shit. Including FPO,
Okay,
because I don't even
Ben,
like
you're
know
going
the
first.
FPO layouts.
You're going first.
Including
Ben.
I'm
FPO,
going
both
stat.
divisions. MPO
Stat.
and FPO
Oh,
is both.
Stat.
Ben says stat.
Easy.
I'm gonna say fiction. Wait, you said he does hold this ace for the shortest,
He is
right?
the shortest
Okay,
hole.
so if I'm
Marky
saying there's a
Chapalonis has the
shorter
shortest
hole,
ace of the year.
yeah, if I'm saying there's
Alright.
shorter,
Matt needs.
oh dang it,
Fiction.
I don't want to change my mind because I already said it, but I was thinking of a hole that's not
Casey,
actually.
you have to go stat if you want a
Casey.
chance.
All right, I'll go stat.
Steve Valgo.
Steve Falco rule.
I hope he watches it.
All right. This is fiction.
Oh,
Oh man,
Steve
this
Falco!
game's over. His ace was actually hole 1,
Music.
round 1.
Yes.
The only opening ace of the year.
Nice.
I didn't check back in last year, but thought that was really cool. There were 2 holes that were shorter, both at the Beaver State Fling.
Oh, I didn't even play that
Chandler-
event.
Chandler Fry took home a 175-foot ace on hole number 4 on Milo West.
Yeah.
You also had Christian Dietrich get one on hole 5 on Milo East.
No.
I got-
Those are both
197
crazy
feet.
short holes.
So-
I didn't play that a freaking event.
As we're talking about our aces, good or bad throws, that was just a lucky throw on my part right there. I was just like fiction.
I just didn't want to freaking vote with you because then you would still have the lead.
I
he would
thought,
have won. Yeah.
oh, either way, yeah. So the problem I made, I got lucky. For some reason in my head, I went to like hole 8 at Maple Hill, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's shorter for sure. Then I'm like, oh dang, like no,
Well,
goal.
no, that's 400
yeah,
feet, bro.
exactly. So I got lucky. That's when I said I should change it because I'm
Oh.
thinking of the
No,
wrong
wait,
thing, and I was like, no,
I
keep
lied.
it.
You could have tied him. That was my mistake. I thought Matt would have won no matter what.
Nah, but still, I mean,
Yeah.
I was just.
I'm
like,
saying
ah.
if he said fiction, it would have been 1-2. I thought it was game over. Oops.
Intern
That
Ben
brought us
leading
3
him astray.
questions.
By the way, the Steve Falco rule,
freaking Beaver
just a
State Fling.
random chatter that we've had in here, random. A person
He
who
hasn't
watched our
commented in a
show,
while. I hope he's still listening. Please comment.
he
on
would
this.
always hate if people would play the game like you guys just did. Like, oh, it's probably the other answer, but I want a chance to win, so I'll say this. He's like, you got to write it down. You can't do that. So we just call it the Steve Falco rule. You can't do it, but you guys did. That's okay. Evan.
We did it
I'm
incorrectly.
Losing. I'm losing. So
We
Let's do
lost,
double or
pretty
nothing
much,
on this
yeah.
one.
double or nothing.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
we'll
Double
still
it.
get 0.
Matt's-
Let's go.
Matt's calling it.
We'll
so
still get
We're
0.
going for it. Double or nothing.
We'll still get
getting
0. Let's go. Casey, we're
We
at 0.
got-
Yeah.
0 times 2 equals 0.
We're sticking with Chandler Fry. His ace on hole 4 of the Beaver State Fling was the easiest. I'm going to put that in quotes.
Whoa.
Easiest ace of the year, and that's based on field average for that hole
Oh.
And
during
another
that
event I
round.
didn't play. I don't know.
So not actually the
Good, you
easiest
don't have an
to
advantage
get it in
on
the
us.
basket and stick and all that, but
So,
easiest hole, so easiest.
Can we
ace.
write down our answer on this one, or at least just gentleman's agreement? Like,
Yeah,
we're
I'll
not
write
going to
down on
change
my
it.
phone.
Think it up. Because otherwise, we're going to play that game. Steve Falco rule. Here we go.
that was the easiest hole that was aced all year.
I have my answer.
Yes.
And that's based
And
off
that's the
of
field
percentage.
average
Yeah.
during that round.
Just the
Oh,
round.
during that
During
round,
that round.
not the year long at all the events. Oh,
No. Sorry. I'm saying the field average during that round. So, like, if the same hole was played all 4 rounds
Yeah,
of the
I
same
hear
tournament, it only counts for the round that they aced in.
All right.
But it's-
I got my
but
answer.
you are
all aces
comparing
for
it.
that year.
Yes, but you are comparing against all aces for that year.
I'm carrying the field average to all of the aces
Okay,
during this
I'm
year.
committed
Got it.
to my answer.
2022 majors.
I've
elite and
committed
silver.
to my answer. What do you
And I'm
got?
pissed.
I'm
about
committed.
it. I'm pissed.
We all picked the same. Fiction.
Stat.
Yes.
What?
Stat.
Wow. Okay, so this is it.
We either tie or we die at 0.
All right. This is fiction.
I win it
Why?
somehow.
Matt sweeps it. Look at this.
Whoa.
Goodness.
What happened
So,
there? I've never
the
done
field
that
average-
before.
All right, can
I
I
could've
guess the
told you
next
it was-
one? Can I guess? Can I guess the other hole?
Yeah. I was going to say Beaver State Fling hole 4, Milo West was 2.4078. So
Super
pretty
easy.
What do you think, Casey?
I want to guess. It might be wrong, but this is just kind of what comes to mind.
It's
for
just
me.
the easiest hole, right? That's
The
what you're looking
easiest
for on
that
tour.
day.
Yes. With
With an
it had an
ace.
ace.
Oh, but it had an ace.
I'm gonna say
yes.
hole 7 at Lake Eureka. I think I'm wrong, but that was the only hole in my mind.
Is that over the water?
No,
What is that?
That Chandler Fry also aced
Yes, he
that
did.
one. It's kind of a wooded short shot. That averaged
Oh, I know what you're talking
2.4459
So just
when
barely.
both Chandler Fry and GT
and
Hancock
GT
got
aced.
it.
Yeah,
And then it averaged a little bit higher when Matt Bell got it in a different round.
that was windier that round.
And yeah. So it is not that
So
one.
how close is it? 2.44 to what? 2.
So Chandler Fry's that we were talking about, that was the benchmark, was 2.4078.
Okay, 2.4.
I'll say the
and this is
winning
2.44.
hole, the lowest
Yeah.
field average with an ace, was 2.3596.
Quadruple or
What
nothing.
hole? What hole?
So it was hole 15 at
Idlewild.
Jonesboro.
Oh, Marky Chap!
It's Marky Chaps as well. So both these questions are fiction
it.
flipped
He
with Chandler
played
Fry
us
and
on
Marky
that
Chap.
one.
Marky Chap. Fuck you.
But two different holes that Marky Chap aced.
Are you listening, Marky? No, he's not listening.
Ah.
Well, I'd never done that before, so thank you guys
You
for that
swept us.
opportunity. It's usually Nick that just slays me, I guess. No.
I'm so sad.
Thank you for bringing that to us, Evan.
Yeah, what is the coincidence that I had
Yeah.
an ace stat or fiction lined up when we were talking
Wow.
about aces? That's before you even sent the show.
Yeah.
No, that was after the show notes. I guess I didn't think about. I don't know. Maybe it was.
I need to
It
pay
was
attention.
subliminal.
behind.
It was subliminal.
I thought you were going to give me like the
But-
good questions, like Simon Gets, like who has more wins in 2019? And I would have been like,
This is
piece of
way
cake.
off. No, and to be clear, Evan, we haven't had this off-show meeting, but I like and apparently I do. I would say I like this stat or fiction a lot. I feel like this is super fun. Thank you for bringing that to us. Man, the chat loved Casey here in studio. I don't know if you noticed, Ben, but it's so much easier to have conversation. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I know
course.
Evan,
I'm looking at
So
it
it works
right now
out.
while we're talking.
but sometimes when you have a new face
Yeah, of course.
interview and they're remote, you're like, it feels kind of weird.
Yeah.
So this was really cool. You're definitely welcome to join next week. I think Nick will be here too, so we might pump you to the couch if
All
you
right.
do come in.
All right.
But we have more
And
cameras.
Simon will be here.
No, he'll be in Germany.
Exactly.
German.
German.
Ben's trying so hard.
Ben is a super fan.
No.
He
Hey,
goes-
Evan's the one that said he'd drive an hour and a half only if Simon was coming. So
Yeah.
Well, I was going to
Gannonburg.
pair it with going to the office, and then no
yeah.
one said
So
anything.
Casey's
so I was like,
here.
I'm
He's
just gonna
not making the
look
drive.
into
But
it.
Simon.
I just thought of a
He's making
segment
the
for next
drive.
week, but maybe I wouldn't be able to handle it myself. We should definitely do a roast like of our show.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be funny.
I call.
Like I just make fun of
Like
Ben.
mannerisms.
I'll
Like
just- I'll
Nick
just
says
start-
2-2.
I'll just start writing down Nick Carl stuff.
And Nick, we won't tell him it's happening.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
sit him in the couch over there.
Nick, you better not
Poor
be
guy.
tuning in
Yeah.
right
Dude,
now.
mine would be just like my quips on Evan. That's like my signature. My quips.
Yeah, that every time we play around together, it's proven false.
Okay. This was it was a long one. The chat was like, I'm here for it. Let's keep going. But this was a long one. I don't know if it's there with our longest, but it's got to be. This has got to be in a top 5 longest. So hope that's okay, Casey. But we will wrap it up. Usually Nick closes it out. But I don't think there's much left to say. Did I miss anything, guys?
Not too much to
no,
say.
not too much. So let's wrap it. He's
We
starting the
need
roast
Patreon
already.
after show talks.
All right. Well, we've made it to this point in the show. I have a fairly early morning. I do teach people. So all right, let's close it out. Who says what? Nick usually says tell someone. you love them.
That was the show, guys. Thanks to Casey for coming into studio.
Yes.
Thanks for Matt for coming into my studio. I appreciate it, guys. And yeah, just shameless plug to Skira and tell somebody you love them.
Yep.
That's right. You're awesome. Ben, Casey, you're awesome. Evan, you're awesome. Peace out, everybody.